a lot of the reasons why I booked Jane the Virgin, you can't give it the credit to any one person or thing. There were a lot of things that led up to it, but I think probably the main credit is that I decided.
Welcome to Black Belt Beauty Radio, a podcast fueled by a passion to support your journey in developing your most beautiful and optimal performance in life. Each episode is driven with the intention to elevate your mind. When we elevate our mind, we elevate our life. So get ready. It's time to rise. What's up, everyone? I am so excited about this next episode with my friend, Andrea Navedo. I mean, to be honest, I really don't think that I'm going to be able to give an intro to her that is worthy of the amazing that she is. I will just a little brief background that Andrea is an actress. She is a season regular on the TV show Jane the Virgin. She also does film as well. She recently just created her first piece as a director, which is just totally impressive. Not easy to do at all. I will be promoting that when the time is ready for me to do so. And, the thing about Andrea that I really want to focus on, not so much of her resume, but the incredible person that she is. I mean, wow, truly. I mean, not only is she an actress, which is a really difficult career path for anyone to have and to, to uphold in a very healthy way, the way that she is. But she's a mommy, she is a very self-driven woman who does this dance with life where, she's balancing her career, her marriage, her relationship with her kids, and especially the relationship that she has with herself. She doesn't slack. She nourishes her mindset. She nourishes her body from within. She cares very much about her well-being because she understands that, her well-being directly influences everything that she cares for, and that essentially is her life. And that's such an alignment to, the whole message behind Black Belt Beauty, which is why to have her on as a guest and to feel her support the way that I have felt since meeting Andrea is I'm so grateful for it. So grateful. Listening back to this episode in preparation to send it over to my producers, I cannot say how many times I was cracking up and cheering, like, fuck yeah, just literally reliving this amazing conversation that I had with her and, getting this kind of invigoration again from just listening to her story. She's an incredible storyteller. So I hope that you're ready for this one. It's a little bit longer than the previous ones, but that's definitely something that is going to be a part of this podcast, because when the energy's there and the conversation's flowing, I am not trying to stop it at all. So I hope that you're ready for this. I firmly believe that you're going to walk away feeling inspired and motivated and feeling empowered that you can get after it and do whatever it is that you want to create for yourself in your life. And Andrea is the perfect, most beautiful example of that. What's so interesting too is that, she's so open about her vulnerability and her kind of these moments of wavering doubts, or not. I don't like to use the word doubt because I don't think that she doubts herself. I think that the best word is just areas of vulnerability, which we all have. There is not one, person who is kicking ass in life who doesn't have these moments where you kind of question yourself. And I love how raw and real she is, on that subject. And I think that in my mind, I'll say this and then I'll get to it with the episode, but I'm a firm believer that to be very strong, you have to equally be very kind of soft and sensitive. And that's what makes us pliable. And, the great way to put it is you can't snap a string. And I feel that Andrea is a beautiful representation of this very strong and, soft woman who's just creating her life to be everything that she wants it to be. And so, yeah, let's get to it. I'm excited. I can't wait for you guys to let me know what you think about it. She's dope. Her social media handles are at the end of the episode, so follow her because she's so much fun. And without further ado, here's my conversation with Andrea Navedo. Okay, I'm so excited. Thank you, first of all. This is so special to me.
I'm so excited to be here in support of you and this endeavor. And I know that it's not easy to, take on a challenge like this and put yourself out there and say, I'm going to have a podcast, and then and battle all those inner voices that tell you, who do you think you are? Or why are you having a podcast? Or anything like that. But I'm excited because I've gotten to know you over the last, couple of years as my makeup artist. And we totally clicked. And I love your philosophies and your way of thinking. And I love to be here in support of you.
Thank you so much. I feel it so much. And it's everything you said the reason why you can say that I feel, knowing the self-talk and all that stuff that you have to kind of battle through and is because you live it. And so now I get to say that, upon meeting you, first of all, it's my favorite part of what I do for a living. It's not the eyeshadow. It's like that real connection that isn't necessarily always made. Mm-hmm. But when I do have that feeling with someone, it's so, like I have with you, it's so special to me. And, I said this to you earlier, when I first started Black Belt Beauty, the blog, it was with this intention that was all about supporting and kind of journeying through this process with like-minded women like yourself who are just getting after it in life, who are, how I see you as someone who believes that she can have everything that she wants. And that stems from, a feel-good mindset to a body that feels good, to a body that looks great, ultimately all leading to this kind of high performance in life and then a life that reflects it. Mm-hmm. So, in the conversations that we've had when we've worked together, I always leave feeling so inspired, so refreshed, so feeling like, what a fucking badass woman.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Truly.
Well, I have to say, when I hear you say those things about me, it's like, I don't know that I quite live up to that. I was like, if she only knew, what? I don't know. I definitely have high standards for myself, and I don't think I ever quite meet them. And maybe that's what gives a perception to people on the outside that I have it so together, and I so don't feel that way at all. It's hard.
Do you think that? I think so that having high standards, first of all, I think is a very brave act, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Pursuing those standards is an even more courageous act. And then I feel that you saying you're not actually living to it, I think that that's the magic bait. If you felt like you were living to your standards, what would keep you chasing for more?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So how I see this is it's not so much about you're just like hitting every mark at 100, but it's more about the pursuit, the relentlessness in your pursuit. And so actually so that's a great segue to going back, because you're from the Bronx, right?
Yes, born and raised.
Okay, can you tell our listeners a little bit about your upbringing, where you come from, and kind of how you came to be where you are right now? I'm sure it's a big story.
Sure. I'll try to not make it go too long.
No.
So yes, I was born and raised in the Bronx. My family is from Puerto Rico, but my parents kind of grew up in New York too, so they're very, very American. But I just grew up kind of poor. There was a time in our lives that we were on welfare. That was not easy. My parents split when I was 5, and then my mother remarried, and that marriage was really not healthy.
Yeah.
So there was some violence, there was substance abuse, and other types of abuse that I experienced personally as a child. I was sexually abused. So, so it was a challenging upbringing,
Yeah.
challenging. I mean, I feel like I guess I wouldn't change things because it kind of has made me who I am, and I feel like I'm a very fierce mother because of the way I grew up, and
Fierce woman. Period. Yeah.
okay, thank
I'll say
you.
it. Yeah.
Thank you. So yeah, so I mean, in high school, even in when I was little, I always wanted to be an actress, but I didn't think it was a possibility. So
How did you, what was that feeling? How did you know that? Because
I would
you're,
just watch TV and like movies and want to be doing what they were doing. I would feel this like pull, and in my head, I would say, I want to do that. I want to be that person.
would you actually, would you visualize it ever?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And it's so funny. I even remember, and I don't know if it will happen, but I just remember like all the things happening to me as a child, and I remember saying to myself, I'm gonna write a book about this someday.
I love that.
I was like, this is pretty wild what's happening to me. I don't know
Yeah.
if I ever will, but yeah, I remember thinking like there was a part of me that could remove myself from myself and be observing myself and observing the people around me. And I remember thinking to myself, there's a better way, a better life out there. And these people are crazy. And I can't wait to be an adult so that I can be in control and I can control my destiny and who I'm hanging out with and who I'm exposed to.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Wow, that's dope. I'm
yeah.
sitting here smiling because I don't know if I've heard anybody else say that. Not to say that I'm the only one, obviously, who thinks this way, but growing up writing my whole life, I feel that my inner wisdom is a result of my ability to have, when you write, it's kind of like this third person thing that's happening, right?
Yeah.
So I've been able to observe myself my whole life too. And
That's
I've been
great.
able to kind of separate, and live in the story and outside of the story.
Yeah.
Too.
I could say that too. I mean, even when there were times, like, for example, when I was a teenager and I was 14 years old, I met this guy named Pete. And he was like a go nowhere guy. He was really not going to school. Just
Yeah.
not good,
Right.
toxic. And he liked me, and so I liked being liked. And I think when you're a child of sexual abuse, you confuse sex or physical attraction with love.
Sure.
And so for me, it was just like the fact that I was being noticed and was thought I was pretty and stuff like that was just so irresistible to me. And I just really wanted to continue to have that feeling. So I wound up dating this guy for 3 years. So from age 14 to
Wow.
17.
How old was he?
He was probably 2 years older than me.
Okay.
And he was violent.
Oh, wow.
He would hit me.
Yeah.
And I was having sex at age 14.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
at one point, really wasn't going to school, and I would like leave my house as if I was going to go to school, and I would go straight to his house.
Wow.
And it wasn't good for me. But there was a part of me always that was like, Andrea, what are you doing? Is this the life you want for yourself? Like, what are you doing? There's a better way. And I was having sex unprotected too.
I'm sure at 14, you're
Yeah.
not thinking about,
No.
totally.
And then like one day, I think it was like age 16, I was like, I have to get on birth control. What the fuck am I doing? And I told my mom, and it was so hard because I didn't know where to go, what to do. And
Were you close to your mom, or what was
not
that
really
dynamic?
I mean, I want to say that I was, but
Because that's pretty brave.
I know. I'll give my mom some credit. I mean, look, she was a single mom raising 2 daughters in the South Bronx,
Yeah.
working full time. And, she had less than proud parenting moments. I will say that. But I can't say that I would have done any better.
Yeah.
If anything, I might have done worse. So my hat's off to my mom that she didn't freaking kill us. Seriously.
I mean, I like to think that people are always doing their best.
Yeah, exactly.
To their ability in that moment.
Exactly.
Right?
With
what they got,
what they were equipped with.
Totally.
There's no parenting classes out there. Nobody has, and every child has to be raised differently.
Sure.
And all that other stuff. But anyway, I was brave enough to finally just go, Mommy, I want to go on birth control. And I was afraid she was going to get mad and stuff like that. And she was like, okay.
Wow. That's rad.
I'll look into it. And so then she reached out to my aunt who was in healthcare, and they just connected me with her on the phone, and my aunt, Titi Lola. I love that woman. She was like, so you want to go with birth control? Okay, we're going to have you come in the clinic. You'll go to a gynecological exam. And then I had a gynecologist who was a man.
Oh, my goodness.
It was my first gynecological exam, and he was so handsome. I was like, oh God, this is awful. I was like, really?
That's amazing.
Is this happening to me?
You have a hot OBGYN.
He was so handsome. My God. It's terrible.
That's amazing.
But anyways, and so I started going on. And here's a funny conversation that I had with my boyfriend, Pete. I said, before I talked to my mom first, I was like, I'm thinking I want to go on birth control. And you know what he said?
Oh no, what?
He goes, why?
Wow.
And oh my God, when he said that,
it was
just
alarm.
Like, yeah. And I go, well, I said, what do you think? I want another little Pete running around here?
Oh, shoot.
And he was like, ooh, he got mad. But it was like, I just kind of started getting really tired of like what was happening.
Yeah.
Just like really fed up. And so I went on the birth control pill. And then from there on, I was just waking up, really.
Sure.
I was just starting to just become so aware. What the fuck are you doing, Andrea? What are you want to go to college, don't you? Don't you want to do stuff? And there was one day where he was, I don't know, we got into some argument. He was threatening me, and he had two pit bulls. Mm-hmm. One of them was a dog that I knew would bite me. And the other one was very nice. But this one was like a crazy dog. And he was trying to sick the dog on me. So he had the dog on a leash.
Oh my God.
I know. This is a crazy story. He had the dog on a leash, and he was like antagonizing me with the dog and like pushing the dog towards me and like getting the dog angry.
Wow.
And I knew that dog would bite me. I totally knew that dog would bite me. And I said to him, I had to be smarter. So I said, oh, you're such a tough man. You need your dog to put your girlfriend in her place, huh?
You're already acting.
I was like, you're so tough. And he was like, yeah, I'll lock this dog up. I said, yeah, lock the dog up. Because that's all I could think of was I got to get this dog away from me. And then he locks the dog up, and then he comes back. And I'm like, oh, fuck. What did I do? Now I still have to deal with him because I know how he is.
Right.
And he started poking me in the head. Oh, you're so tough. Come on. You're so tough. Come on. What you going to do now? What you going to do now? Antagonizing me. And I fucking lost it. I went batshit crazy on him. And I just lunged at him. And literally, we were in a heap, in a ball on the floor, fighting.
Shit.
Fighting. I was so angry.
Like, there's a part of me listening to this where it's like, I'm angry for you. Yeah. And I'm like, she didn't know jujitsu yet.
I didn't.
Which I can't wait to talk about. But
let me tell you something. I so gave him a run for his money.
I'm sure you did.
So much to the point that he had to pull a knife out on me.
Oh, shit.
To stop me. Because I was so, I think it was the anger of seeing my mother get beat up when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And, things that happened in my life. And then, a couple of years of being abused by my boyfriend. Mm-hmm. And I just freaking lost it. And he pulled out the knife, and then I was like, oh my God, now what? And literally he's so dumb. I actually was able to do the reverse psychology again. He had no idea what I was doing to him. He's such an asshole, stupid. And I said, oh, you're so tough. You got to pull a knife out on your girlfriend.
Wow.
You can't handle me. You got to use a knife. And I
Good for you, though. This is, I mean, your intuition, that's really special because I don't think many women would, or girls, especially at that age, they're not going to have that ability to just go to that space in their mind. It's more like fight or flight.
Yeah, exactly.
So you were intelligently.
Well, and I mean, I had let him hit me all those times because that's what I saw when I was growing up. And so I thought, well, this is what happens in relationships. Like, I thought that was normal.
Yeah.
And it was shortly thereafter that I broke up with him.
Good for you.
Because it was just like a switch went off. And ever since then, I've never attracted a guy like that in my life. No one has ever raised a hand to me. And if anything, I would have knocked them out.
Like you've got like ammunition in your back pocket too, at jiu-jitsu. And that's, first of all, wow, that's amazing. There's parts of your story that I can connect with because my mom was also physically abused by my father, as were me and my siblings. And my dad was a strong motherfucker. And so he would kick our ass, literally. What's interesting about that, well, two parts. One, it's almost, in my mind, it's almost like you had to kind of get that out of the way. Like, experience a guy like that.
Yeah, exactly. I needed to do that.
For you to understand, like, actually, no, this isn't my story. Maybe this is what I experienced, but this isn't going to be part of my story and my process and my life, essentially. That's one thing. And then the other thing is, it's interesting because those that know me and don't know that part of my childhood, I don't think would ever guess, that there had been that my dad used to kick my ass and beat my mom so much that she had to run away. We didn't know where my mom was for 5 years, but she had to do it to save her life.
Oh my God.
So it's, I'm dropping this like nobody knows this shit, but nobody knows it. And I'm kind of turning this back to you because my siblings and I, for some reason, we've never owned it. It wasn't this personal. We didn't take it personal. It's kind of like it was part of what happened to us as kids. And, there are some positive
You didn't internalize it.
Yeah, like it just, it never stuck, it just kind of like.
That's very good.
When I feel, you're such a light, that's how I receive you. And I know that's how, it's how others receive you. People that we know mutually would say the same thing. And so it's interesting how, I didn't know that about your childhood until now. I would never guess it. And I feel like it's that same thing because you don't, some people aren't able to do it that way.
Right,
and they really hold it and it becomes like there's this ripple effect that's gnarly.
And it's super negative effect in the rest of their life. Yeah.
Right. There's this thing called, there's post-traumatic stress and then there's post-traumatic growth, which is where I feel like
I've never heard that term. I love that.
Isn't it great?
Post-traumatic
Michael Gervais.
growth.
I have to say that's where I heard it from Michael Gervais,
I'm
sports
be
psychologist.
That.
It's so great, and it's
post-traumatic growth. Yes,
right.
Makes complete sense, though.
Because that's what I feel. We'll pick it back up, from that moment for you. But listening to you and knowing you in your life now, that had to have been your process, right?
Yeah, I would say, and I'm gonna give credit to my parents as well because. For example, my mom, yes, she was in an abusive marriage, but when I was 12 years old, I saw her leave him. And I saw her work towards leaving him. So before, the year before, she got herself enrolled. We were on welfare at that time, but she got herself enrolled in this work study kind of program. And I remember her doing her homework, coming home, and she'd have to learn, practice stenography and practice typing and do all her homework in order to get this certificate and graduate from this program. And then she graduated from the program, got immediately placed at Merrill Lynch, was working at the World Trade Center.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I saw her do all of that and get that full-time job, then write this long letter to him, left it in the apartment. She got us a new apartment. We moved out, and didn't tell him that we were leaving, and she just left the letter there.
Wow.
And that was it. And that was like, I saw my mom get her stuff together, like bite down, and
that's powerful.
Show a lot of grit and just do that. And so that was huge. That was tremendous for me. So I don't know that if I didn't see my mom do that, if I would have made the choices that I made. So you learn by example, I think. So you can, like, I say this to my husband, I try not to preach to my kids. I mean, I find myself sometimes, telling them a lot of stuff, but they need to hear it, but they also need to see it.
Lead by example.
Yeah. And so I like introducing my kids to see me when I'm nervous. I'll tell them when I'm nervous about something or I'm scared about something. And then I'll do it anyway.
That's so badass.
And I want them to see me do that, you know?
Yes.
And so even like being out here in LA now, that was like a huge, like out of my comfort zone, huge brave move for me to be out here and separated from them.
Right.
And they have seen that the choice that I made created a bigger and better life for all of us. I mean, granted, we have some separation, but it's created amazing opportunities for me, and thereby given them a lot of cool opportunities. They were living here in LA for 2 years, going to new school, and they've had getting to be on the set and, traveling and all these other things. So it's been awesome in that way.
It's exciting for them, I'm sure.
Yeah. But so that's the credit my mom gets.
Yeah.
And then my dad has always been all about education. He loves school. And he was in jail, I think when he was 19 for a year. He went to Rikers.
Oh, really?
Yes. And he likes to say he graduated from Rikers U.
Oh, wow. That's hilarious. Well, I feel like that's legit, too.
Yeah, because he got his GED when he really? Out of Rikers U.
Oh, wow. I was putting it in another way, but wow. I love it.
And he was, prisons for him served the purpose that it's supposed to serve, which is, he was like, oh, I don't want to do this shit again. Yeah. I am never going back to prison. And he never.
Lesson learned.
Yeah, he was like, and he never did. But he got introduced to education in Rikers.
Oh, wow.
And he was taking courses through NYU in Rikers. And then when he graduated from Rikers. He
kind of did.
Yeah, he came out with a GED and he went right into college. And then when I was a kid, he was working full time, and he would take me once in a while to one of his college courses, and I would sit in class with him, like a physics class or something like that. And he planted the seed of education in me. And then he would take me to see plays. He would take me to see dance recitals. He'd take me to the museum. He loved art and drawing and sketching. He wanted to be an artist. Oh, wow. He did not choose that path, but he wanted to be an artist. So he would take all kinds of art classes, and he would take me. I can remember taking me to the Met, and he'd bring sketch pads and pencils, and
how cool!
Give me a pen and a pencil and say, point to the statue and say, sketch that statue.
Wow.
And I don't know, my sketches weren't that
rad.
great. But, it was like that kind of thing. So I think I get my love for learning from my father. And then also I think my love for the arts from my father.
Wow, what a cool dynamic. So you got the fighter and the doer from mom. Yeah. And kind of the thinker, right? From your dad. The thinker
from my dad, for sure.
We are so much alike.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, that's so funny.
This is crazy. My mom... so like I said, my mom had to run away for 5 years, and she left literally with the purse on her back, right?
Oh my God. And
then, 5 years later, when we reunited with her, because she just figured it out, got forceful on my dad, whatever, we saw my mom roll up in this gold Mercedes,
this like
Damn.
fur coat.
Damn.
Seriously, like blonde hair. She's
Get outta
dark
here.
hair. Obviously, I have black hair. Just this whole other woman, and we were so young.
Oh, this sounds like a great movie.
She always says to me, oh my gosh.
We have to write I love this.
Wait till you meet her. Honestly, she's a legend. And I always say, she's like, I want you to write my story.
Yes.
I'm like, Mom, I don't know if I could do it because it's so, it's hard, you know, because she has lived through some serious shit, you know? And so we see this woman and she is fierce.
Oof,
and
I love it.
She owns her. So my mom does hair. You know, she owned her own business. She had her condo in Palos Verdes. Like, she did it. And it's so, you know, and then after that, you know, so we end up moving and living with my mom. And just watching my mom always being so aggressive towards, you know, whatever it is that she wanted to pursue and never limiting herself. Like, she did not have this, she does not, she's still here, briefly. But there's like this limitless mindset that we've always seen with her. Cut to my father, if you take away, you know, the physical abuse part, which I think just has to do with his upbringing and, you know, the culture or whatever. You know, my father actually, he got his PhD at some like at 24, some shit like that from USC. Wow. He is beyond intelligent. He speaks in riddles. He's a fabulous storyteller. Like, it's insane, actually, how smart he is. And I remember that so clearly growing up, like a modern philosopher, truly. And now, at 39, 6 months away from 40, so crazy, being an introvert and spending so much time with myself, because I have this, and I know that we're so aligned here, there's this, like, insatiable thirst for learning. And so I'm constantly downloading information, you know, whether it's by book or by podcast or whatever. You know, I don't watch TV. I'm constantly learning and like going in different rabbit holes like that. And I feel like that's and I love to think about things. And I that for sure comes from my father. So fighter in the mom, thinker from the dad.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. And I'm all about, like, I love audiobooks and podcasts, because I don't have real time to sit down and read a book. By the time the only time I really will sit down and read a book is at night, and I end up falling asleep.
I know, it's overlapping.
First 5-10 minutes. So it's so hard for me to finish a book.
Me too.
I'm like, thank God for podcasts and audiobooks. So that's how I educate myself. And then sometimes when I listen to an audiobook that I really, really like, that really resonated with me, I'll get the hardcover.
Same.
Or hard copy, and then go through it that way and highlight
so your little doggy tier, whatever the page. I'm the same way. You know what's cool about that? My brother, Mike, because he listens to a lot of really intellectual talks and things of that nature, but he pointed out that listening to information, there's so much power in it because you can't get ahead of it. Whereas in a book, you can kind of like skip a sentence and go forward. You know what I mean?
And our eyes tend to jump ahead anyways as we're reading. Yeah.
Exactly. So listening, you can't do that. And so it kind of, and I definitely feel like it's made me a better listener. So I think that there's value in that, right?
I could totally see that.
It's really cool. See that. Okay, so so you knew you wanted to be an actress. Your parents were supportive, right? And by just example, tell me about.
Not necessarily. They weren't unsupportive, but they weren't necessarily supportive. I mean, they just were sort of in the middle. So after I left my boyfriend in high school, I really started to focus on school. I mean, I was literally getting Z's. That was my grade. You know, you got the A, B, C, and D letter grades. Well, I was getting Z's, and that was because I just wasn't showing up. I didn't show up to high school for almost an entire school year.
Oh, I'm about probably 2 because I was surfing and shit. Yeah, I was horrible. Yeah. Isn't that funny? We're such lovers of learning.
Right. I don't think, that's a whole other podcast or a whole other conversation, but the education system is just so anti-learning. It's like
I agree.
It's so, but anyway, that's a whole other story. But but then when I decided, well, I just decided, and this is what's cool and what's so powerful is you can just decide.
Totally.
You just change your mind, and your whole life could just. There's so much power in that
decision. Absolutely.
And so I was like, I'm going to be a good student now.
That's incredible.
And then I became like an honor student.
That's
like I was like getting 4.0. I went from Z's to 4.0 just because I decided.
You decided.
Yeah, I was like, no, this is what I'm going to do now because I want to go to college.
That's so incredible.
So I went to be really honest, to the only college that accepted me. And I had to convince the administrator because I didn't have the grades, like the grade average.
Yeah.
To get in. But I think I wrote a bomb-ass, essay. And he liked my essay, and then I had a teacher who was my mentor who advocated for me, and we went in, and I went to interview, and he's like, wow, your grades are and he goes, but your last year is very good, and did you write this essay? And I'm like, yes, I did. And he goes, wow, it's very good. And he goes, through talking with me, he gets to see that I wasn't, the type of person I was, I guess.
Yeah.
And he goes, I like you. And he goes, and I'm going to give you a chance. He goes, but you have to have the grades or I won't let you come back. And sure enough, in college, I was on the honor roll again.
Where was the college? Was it
Old Westbury College in Long Island?
Okay, cool.
And I didn't know what my major was going to be. I had never verbalized to anyone or myself that I wanted to be an actress.
Okay.
I knew that if there was an opportunity to do a play in college, I might try. And sure enough, that first semester, I saw an audition sign on the wall.
Yeah.
And my heart fluttered.
Oh.
Like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, it was like I took my breath away. And I was like, oh, there's an audition. Oh, audition. Oh, it was a play. And then I was like, yeah, I want to go. And then within a split second, another voice was like, you can't do that.
Oh, shit.
You don't have any acting experience. You can't compete against college actors. Who do you think you are?
Wow.
And then I started having this, it's like, the devil and the angel on your shoulder conversation. 100%. Like, no, you should go. You promised yourself that you would be open to trying new things when you got to college. And so you've got to try. And then the other voice is like, well, you're going to be so nervous. You're going to mess up anyway. And la, 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 la. This is going back and forth, this conversation in my head. So then at one point I was like, okay, I'm just not going to go. And I just tried to leave it at that. And I walked away. I mean, it was just I saw the dates, but I made a mental note of the dates of the auditions, filed that away in my brain. And then as time went on, I knew the dates were coming closer and closer. And then finally the voice in my head was like, you don't ever want to look back and have regrets.
Yes.
Yeah. You have to go. You don't have an option here because you're going to be kicking yourself if you don't. And so I made myself go because I was so nervous.
Oh, man.
And the audition turned out to be not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I wound up getting a part.
Great.
I did the play, the rehearsals, and I was smitten, so in love. I mean, I was like, I have found my calling. Oh, this is it.
That's amazing.
That was my first semester freshman.
Oh, wow.
And then when I was done with the play, the teachers in the theater department were like, so have you decided on a major yet?
Oh, really?
And I was like, no. And they're like, but do you want to major in theater?
Really?
Yeah.
That's so special.
Yeah.
What a validating moment.
Right?
Yeah.
That is a validating moment. I didn't realize that. But I had another validating moment when I graduated.
Okay.
And I was a senior. So 4 years of, doing theater and plays and stuff. And there was a teacher, her name was Georgia, that she never gave a compliment. Ever, ever, ever. No one ever heard a compliment come out of this woman's mouth.
Oh.
And she had that kind of like stern face and everybody was kind of scared of her.
Warm. Yeah.
She was, but she was one of the theater teachers and she did a lot of plays and stuff like that. And my last semester towards graduation, she pulled me aside. She says, Andrea, I want to talk to you. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, oh, God, I don't know what you want to talk to me about. And she goes, I just want to let you know that I think out of everyone here, you have a real chance of making it. And I just want you to know that.
That's major.
And I was like, oh my God.
That's emotional.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And that helped me. Those words helped sustain me because it took me a couple of years to like even get an agent and, you know, professionally to just establish myself and that kind of thing. And that just, you know, along your journeys, there's always those little angels
totally.
that are there to like, I feel like they're planted there to whisper in your ear, keep going.
Absolutely.
You're going in the right direction.
Yeah.
And that was one of those moments.
That's so rad.
Yeah.
How special.
And I feel, you know, it's kind of cool because I imagine, you know, she must see me.
Sure.
On TV
you're
or
out
whatever.
there. Yeah.
And I would hope that she sees me and says, oh, good, I'm glad.
Oh, I can't imagine her not. I don't know Georgia, but
yeah,
I'm sure she's proud, you know?
Yeah.
And she probably feels really good because she's like, I knew it. I saw it. Damn, I'm good.
She was like, I wouldn't say this to anybody, you know? So that meant a lot to me.
That's so special.
Yeah.
Damn. So, okay. So you go through college, you get your degree in theater.
Yeah.
Your parents at that point.
Oh, so when I told them I wanted to be a theater major, I wanted to be an actress, this was their reaction. My father said, well, I guess you'll be living with me for a while. And in my head, this is what I said, no, I won't.
Oh, shoot.
And I didn't. When I graduated from college, I lived with him for 6 months and I was out. I had my own apartment and I was living on my own, supporting myself. Yes. But, so he says, I know my mother said, well, you might as well learn how to type.
You know, all I hear when I hear that, though, it's just this old kind of mentality, which makes sense because it's not, you know, it's just the different time periods and what, you know, our parents kind of came up, how they were brought up and what, you know, was happening in their time.
It's so funny because, I mean, it kind of made sense because she didn't say, this is what I thought my parents were going to say. Are you crazy?
Yeah.
You'll never make it. You'll never make a living. You'll be starving. Like all those kinds of like negative things. Absolutely not. We're not going to pay for your tuition. That's what I thought I would hear.
Wow.
And so all I heard was, well, learn how to type. That was my mother. and my father was like, well, you'll be living with me for a while. And well, since you're going to do this thing called acting, we might as well learn about it. And he took me to a bookstore.
That's so amazing.
Yeah. And so then he was like, you have to learn the business.
Yes.
It's a business. So we asked someone in the store. They showed us the right direction. And he was like, find some books about the business of acting. And sure enough, I got a book called The Business of Acting. And I literally used that book when I graduated from college on how to get an agent, how to get my headshots, how to type a resume, how to send your, you know, cover letters out and all that.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Wow. That's your parents are amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't think they realize how great they are.
Shout out to your parents because you know, oftentimes I think there's just kind of projection that takes place with parents, people in general, but it's like the fear.
And they can't separate themselves from you as an individual. Like they think you're one.
Right.
Like on a subconscious level.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's not, and so clearly they didn't I mean, they still had their reservations again, but that probably just stemmed from their time period. You know, but the overarching thing that they gave you was, we support you.
Right, exactly.
And wow, that's so cool. And that's another validating moment too, in a way, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I did not get a no.
Yes. It's so important because validation is such an interesting thing. More so, I feel now than ever when you have like social media, which is in so many ways beautiful because this connection thing that happens and your ability to kind of reach so much further.
Right. And influence people in a positive or negative way.
In a positive or negative.
Yeah.
But the validation thing, you know, it's like, man, we can talk about that later, but it's gnarly. So it's kind of like, you know, there's this post that I haven't put up yet, but whatever, I'm putting it out there. Like, validation is for parking. And I love it. I think about it all the time. I haven't put it up yet, but it's not to say that that validation isn't important in life. I think it's about keeping it in check. How much do you need it? Who do you need it from?
It's like saying I love you all the time. If you say it too much, it kind of loses its...
Right, it can.
Unless
you're in my family, because we'll be like, fuck you, I love you, in the same sentence.
But I mean, it's just like...
Yeah.
Words have value, but if they're overused, they can lose their power. And I think that the act is more important.
100%.
Yeah. The action is more important. But you know what? The funny thing, the opposite of validation,
what
is someone telling you can't.
Oh yeah, and that's fuel.
Or doubting you. And I've had those experiences too, and it has been such fuel for me.
I wish you guys can see her face right now. This beautiful woman's face.
For example,
bangs just grew. Yeah, please.
And I love my husband, but I'm gonna be real honest. So before I booked Jane, so I want to say like 5 or 6 years ago, I was more a stay-at-home mom. I've always been acting. I was acting before I met my husband. We've been together 20 years, right? So I was always acting.
Amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And so I want to say like maybe 6 years ago, my husband and I were having an argument about finances, and he literally said this to me. Andrea, when are you going to give this acting thing a time period? Like, have you decided when you're going to say enough is enough and it's really just not working?
I laughed just because I can only imagine you from that face you just made. Yeah, no.
I was like...
What a gift.
What?
What a
Excuse
gift.
me?
He probably just...
Oh, it was a gift. It was truly a gift.
Yeah.
Because it made me so fucking angry that he would say that to me, because I felt like he stabbed me in my heart. Because I was like, oh, you don't believe in me.
Yeah.
You don't think that I can actually do this, huh? Mm-hmm. You don't get me. And you don't get an artist's way. You don't get the path. You don't get that there is faith. Yes. You have to have faith unseen. And that I always knew just around the corner. That I was going to make it. I've been making it up to that point, because I had been working. Yeah. I just had not broken a certain plateau. Sure. So Jane the Virgin for me is a huge plateau break for me. Yeah. I literally said to me, I was so mad. I was like, you fucking watch me. You watch me. I was so mad. So yeah, that was a gift.
Wow.
So here's
he must have been so turned on. I'm sorry. Like this hot Latin woman, like, you better watch me. Like
I was
like, damn, baby, show me.
It made me so mad.
Wait, so that was 6 years. So you've been on Jane the Virgin for 5 years now?
Oh, no, it's been 3.5, 4 years.
3.5, 4 years. Okay, cool. So you were at that. Wow, there's a few things I want to say about that. So you were close to getting the work with Jane the Virgin, season regular now, 3 years. What I want to go back to really quick is when you said you always knew you were right around the corner from something.
Just right around the corner. Yeah.
So I want to kind of unpack that a little bit, because I love that, and I really connect with that. Like, I always feel this sense of transition that's happening, and it's as if I'm getting closer, and I'm getting warmer, and I'm getting, like, it's like everything is almost like I can almost touch it, right? Right. When you say you always felt that, was that something like throughout your life, or was it more of, with the acting thing where you just...
I would say my life. Really, as a child, I just knew that, I don't know, on some level, I was on a journey, or I just knew that I was in control. I don't know, there's just always been a heightened awareness I remember as a child. And I was excited to become an adult, to just kind of like create my life. Yeah. That's what I like. And I remember thinking that as a little kid, like 5 years old or 6 years old. I remember thinking that. I always knew that I would be successful in some way. Like
What was success to you in your mind?
Well, it's money.
Yeah, sure.
In a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, because we didn't have money.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I always knew, like, I wanted a house that had stairs.
Oh.
This was
I love it.
Like stairs on the inside of the house.
Okay.
Like, because I grew up in apartment buildings.
Yeah, no, it makes sense,
right?
actually.
And I remember watching, like, the Brady Bunch, for example.
Totally. Running down the stairs.
You know, and all these, like, they lived, like, this, like, beautiful suburban life.
Right.
And, like, you know, they're just, like, happy, you know.
Perky, everything's polished.
Nice house, nice furnishings, nice clothes. And their bedrooms were upstairs. Like, that was, like, a big deal to me. And I was like, I am going to have a house that has stairs and the bedrooms will be up there. And
That's
I mean,
incredible.
I have that now.
That's
you know,
so
and
badass.
I love my house. And
I love it.
that the bedrooms are upstairs.
That is special.
That to me was success.
That's fantastic.
And I always knew I wanted kids, and you know.
So yeah, you're a mommy of 2.
Yes, my daughter's 13. Her name is Ava, and Nico 10.
So cute.
Yeah. So I was saying to you today, you know, it's like when I first got here, I started getting a little blue.
Yeah.
Because they're in New York and I'm here. And I travel every 2 weeks while we're filming Jane.
Okay.
Jane gets shot out here.
That's taxing.
Yeah. Sure. I mean, it's like, I don't know, you know. I'm like, I hunker down. It's like I put my horse, like a horse with blinders, and I
get after it.
Yeah. You know, so I don't get too caught up in being sad or missing them, because I just try not to allow myself to go there. But it's when I have a reason to be out here.
Yeah.
Like, so when I'm filming Jane, I'm good. And as long as I see them every 2 weeks, I'm good. Like, I need to get my fill, because 2 weeks is my limit. If I go more than 2 weeks, I feel like insane woman, and I'm like a zombie, and I don't know who I am and what I'm connected to, and it's an awful feeling. So 2 weeks is the limit. But I just finished filming the first half of season 4, and now we're on hiatus, and I stayed this weekend because I'm directing for the first time.
I can't wait to talk about that.
Yes. A spoken word video. So we'll talk about that. So that's what's kept me here. I could easily have gone home this weekend, but I kept myself here because I chose to do this project. And so we finished shooting on Sunday. I was exhausted all day yesterday, just kind of like recuperating from the season, and this week, past week, was particularly hard. And then now I woke up today, and I'm getting ready to get on a plane tomorrow, and I'm looking at pictures of my kids and my husband, and my son had a recital, I think it was yesterday, that I missed.
Aww.
And it's as soon as, like, I don't have a reason to be here, I start to get really anxious and feel like I gotta get to, who am I without my kids, and this is horrible, and they're growing up, and I'm still out here. Next thing you know, they'll be big, and I would miss this time. I start going over and over in my head, and I go, oh God. Then I go, but what's the alternative? Not pursuing my dreams,
right?
And then I could be a stay-at-home mom, and I've done that for a good amount of time too. And I could be a stay-at-home mom because they could use me, but then I go, I know I wouldn't be happy.
Yeah, and it's also like, I think that to be a wonderful parent is also, I'm not a mom yet, but it's going to happen in my life. I believe that. And I would want my kids or child to witness me getting after it in life, you know, like really pursuing what I love and being all in about it. And, you know, it's interesting. I don't really believe in balance, or maybe this idea of balance where it's like visually, if we had to kind of paint a picture, it's like I'm juggling and everything's just easy.
No.
I feel like
it's one or the other.
It's, you know,
it really is.
You know what the raddest, the 2 words that a friend of mine put together, I wish I could take the credit for it, but I can't. It's dynamic equilibrium. So, because what it means essentially is like, for example, when you're here and you're working, you're all in. You're here,
exactly.
And you can't be anywhere else, because for you to be you and do things the way that, to the standards to which you hold yourself, that you want to be doing it, you have to be present.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
And so, and then I'm sure when you go home and you go and you're with your husband and your kids, you're all in there.
Exactly.
And you're present. So, but to try and uphold both, it's like, I think that's where it gets messy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, I think I got this from Oprah or something, some one of those shows, but there's no real like doing it at the same time or even just like multitasking
It's not a real thing.
is not a real thing.
Yeah.
It's you're focusing on one thing or the other. And it's the same thing with being a mom and being an actress or following my career. But also I feel like women you know, we kind of get the like short end of the stick, but then again we don't, because we get a lot of benefits. But you know, you think, oh, women can do it all. You know, you sort of hear that like, I don't know, it's an unspoken kind of thing that, oh, women can do it all, or she does it all, that woman does it all, it can have it all. Yes, but not at the same time.
Absolutely.
Yes, she can be a career woman, and yes, she can be a mother and a wife and whatever else, but not, I mean, you never stop being a wife or a mother, but you can't do it all exactly at the same time.
Yeah, you have to kind of compartmentalize, you know, the roles,
exactly.
essentially.
And even just like childbearing age.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, we have an expiration time, you know,
Yeah.
there's like a certain window that and it's like, do you choose your career or do you choose to have babies? Like, and it's like, you have to stop one for the other sometimes. Like, you can't really do it all, which is like, you have to separate the two, which is hard.
Even if it's temporary.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I did when I had my kids. I kind of pulled out of acting for a little bit. I mean, kind of always had like a little toe in the door.
Yeah.
I don't fully pull out, but when 9/11 happened, and then my cousin who was 36 died of cancer and left 3 children.
Oh, shit.
I was like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
I'm waiting for my career to take off. Like, what?
Yeah.
I could be blue in the face before that freaking happens. And I was, I was 35 when my daughter was born. So, I was like, fuck this shit. I want to have a family and I'm not going to miss this opportunity. And so that's what I chose to focus on for a good number of years. And when they were really little, I just really wanted to give them my imprint. You know? Like, they needed my imprint. There was no way someone else.
That's such a great way to put it.
Yeah, no one else is raising you. I'm going to put my stamp on this.
That is beautiful. As you should. Or, you know, if that's your feeling. And obviously, if you have the ability to do that, it's a beautiful thing. I know that I would want to do that. That's how I will go about it.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the funny thing is then, you know, that was to the sacrifice of my career, right?
Yeah.
And so then there were several years that I wasn't really acting as much. In fact, I wanted so much to be home with my kids that I was turning down a lot of auditions that would take me out of town, which meant that, you know, if you don't go to an audition, you're not going to work, right?
Right.
So the agents that I had at the time, I had been with them for many years, and I really loved them. They were really, really great agents. But I get a call one day in December, and I want to say my son was 3 years old. My daughter was 6, saying, Andrea, your contract is up for renewal, and we've decided not to re-sign you because you didn't make enough money.
Wow.
And I was like, oh.
Wow. Okay.
And I kind of was expecting the phone call too, because I knew that my heart wasn't in it.
Sure.
Like, acting wise, I literally had lost my passion for acting. I thought that I was going to quit. I really, when that phone would ring, I would dread it because I didn't want to go to an audition. I want to be home with my kids.
Wow.
And I was depressed too, because also the other thing was I was like, oh, I haven't acted in a while, really, and my career didn't get to where I thought it would at this point in my life, and maybe I just don't have it.
You started doubting yourself?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so when I got that phone call and they dropped me, it was like a huge wake-up call. Well, first of all, I went into a very deep depression.
Okay.
I went to a very, very dark place for about a month.
Okay.
And then so that was December. Then in January, a friend of mine who's an editor by trade but is an aspiring writer director, he called me to say, "Hey, Andrea, I got this play I'm going to produce. It's called Frankie and Johnny. And it's really great. It's a 2-act play, 2-person play, and I want you to play Frankie." And
Wow.
I'm like, "Anthony, that's really nice. Thank you, but I've quit acting."
Oh, no, you didn't.
He goes, "What?" I said, "Yeah, I quit." And he goes, "You can't quit." You quit.
Even seeing you say those words, I can't even take you serious. There's just no...
I was so dead on serious. My acting teacher, who I'm still friends with, at the time, I said, "Hey, I quit acting and I have this box full of acting books. Maybe you want it for the studio." And he was like, "Yeah, give me the books." But what do you mean you quit acting?
It's almost like you were feeling sorry for yourself.
Yeah, oh no, I went into a nasty place. It was not fun. And so then he goes, to my friend Anthony, he was like, "Andrea, I hate to hear that. Please don't say that." He goes, "Look, read this book. Read the play. Let me send it to you. Just read it. Don't answer me. Don't say no. Just read the play." And I went, "All right, fine. Send me the play." And so he mails it to me. This was before email.
Wow.
I get, well, it wasn't that bad, but there was email. But, and so I get the play and I'm like, "Let me read this damn play, whatever." And I mean, like, it was like, I was so resistant the whole way, kicking and screaming. So I read the play, and from like the first few lines, I was hooked. It was such a good play written by Terrence McNally. It became, originally it was a play, and then it became a movie starring Al Pacino and Michelle Pfeiffer. So
no big deal.
So yeah, no. And so this
incredible.
was just like, a way the hell off Broadway, play that was going to be produced in New York. And so I read this and I'm like, "Oh my God, I want to play this so bad." Like I just loved
hilarious.
it. But then again, there were a few problems with it. One, there was nudity at the beginning of the play and like a full on sex
Sexy.
act.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm like, "I can't do this. I'm a mother now, and my husband will not be on board with this," because it was a very sexy play. And I'm like, where am I going to get babysitters? And I just can't do this, but I really love this play. Like just going back and forth over and over. And so for me, the lesser of two evils was, okay, if I don't do this play, he's going to do it anyway. He's going to cast someone else in that role. Then he's going to invite me to come see his play. Then I'm going to show up. I'm going to be sitting in the audience and I'm going to look at that person up there and I'm going to be kicking myself.
That's so badass.
That I said no.
Oh my goodness. I love your mental process.
Right.
Your self-talk.
I was like, I had
incredible.
to play it out. Right. So then I was like, no. So then I talked to my husband. He wasn't excited about it. But he goes, "Well, if you can get babysitting, then fine."
Yay.
And then I was like, "All right." And I got on the phone, miracle of miracles. I found a babysitter to come into our lives. And I mean, the pieces just fell into place. And we were rehearsing 5-6 days a week in the evenings. And the first rehearsal, it was an incredible first rehearsal. And when we walked out, it was me, the director, and the other actor, Joe. I just felt like I reconnected with that part of myself. I had lost connection to the actress part of me.
Sure.
For a few years because I had been so focused on my kids.
Makes sense.
And I wanted to be. It was a choice that I made, but I really lost touch with that. And a lot of mothers go through that too. It has nothing to do with like being an actress necessarily. It's like children are so engrossing, when you first have your kids, it's
all about them, right?
It's all about them, and it's built that way because it's supposed to be. That's nature.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing wrong with letting it be all about them.
Totally.
Right. But sometimes what happens is moms lose their sense of self.
Sure.
Through that. And I want to, like, if my kids ever have kids, I want to, especially to my daughter, I want to express to her, the lesson that I've learned. But so that's another conversation. Well, we can talk about that another time.
Yeah.
But anyway, so so what happened? So I turned to Anthony after that first rehearsal. We walked out, and I literally had tears in my eyes, and I said to him, Anthony, thank you so much for this. I forgot all about this part of me, and it means so much to me that I'm getting to do this play. So we rehearsed for like, I don't know, 2 months, whatever it was, and we had like 2 or 3 weeks of performances. And I invited the agents that had dropped me.
Hell yeah, you did!
So I invited them.
I feel like I'm watching a movie right now, by the way. Sorry.
I invited them. One of them shows up with her husband. And she came to see the play, so that speaks volumes that she showed
absolutely.
up. And then I said to her, "Hey, I want to have a meeting with you when the play is done. I would love to have a sit down meeting with you." And she goes, "Sure." So a week after we closed, I went into the office, and she goes, "So what's up?" And I said, "Well, I would like to be a signed client again." And she goes, "No."
Oh, dang.
I'm like, "What?" She's like, "No, Andrea, the business has changed so much from when you started 10 years ago, and you have to work 100 times harder than you did when you first started."
How long were you with them?
I was probably with them maybe 10 years.
Oh,
maybe,
okay. So
yeah, maybe like 10 years. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And she goes, you've got to work way, way harder than ever. And she goes, "We'll freelance with you, but we won't sign you." And I was like, "You know what? That's okay. I would take it for granted if you just immediately sign me. I'm going to prove to you."
This is kind of like the moment with your husband.
With my husband,
Totally.
exactly. It was like that. I like the challenges, I guess.
Sure.
And so then, sure enough, the first 2 things that they sent me out on over the next month, I wound up getting flown out to LA to screen test. Didn't book it, but I did get picked to screen test. And then the second thing I booked. And so a month later, they were like, "Andrea, we would like to sign you as a client again." And so then I was with them. I'm not with them anymore, but I was with them for a few more years. And
were you with them when Jane the Virgin
I booked
happened?
Jane the Virgin, yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, a lot of the reasons why I booked Jane the Virgin, I mean, you can't give it the credit to any one person or thing. There were a lot of things that led up to it, but I think probably the main credit is that I decided.
I believe that.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I love the statement of that there's power in decision.
Yeah.
And I love, again, your mental process is just so, I mean, this is why I had to have this conversation with you, because it's so inspiring to listen to. It doesn't mean that your process is it's not easy, and it's not like you have it all figured out.
Oh, no,
not at all.
Every single day I go through the turmoil of doubt.
Sure.
And not feeling good enough, not feeling talented enough. I go through, I mean, today I was thinking, what's going to happen after Jane? Will I ever work again as an actress? Will I ever make money again? Should I be squirreling my money away now? I mean, I am saving money, but maybe I'm spending too frivolously. Like I have these conversations in my head. It's kind of torture.
It's funny. It's always about the distance between, it's when we go so far ahead and that space in between that can either provide, well, it depends. Like, I feel like oftentimes it creates this kind of discomfort. When we're in the moment, though, and you really just look around and you're like, okay, what's happening right now?
Right.
Oh, I'm sitting, by the beach. I'm drinking matcha. My kids are healthy. My husband's, I have this wonderful, and, realize all the wonderful that is happening in your life.
Right.
Outside of the things that you still want to fulfill. And there's peace. Right?
Right. Well, what I also, when I start to think that way, then I go through these back and forth conversations in my head. It's like I'm schizophrenic. But anyway, so then I go, well, Andrea, think about where you were as a kid.
Yes.
And everything that has happened and led up to this point in time. I have been blessed all along the way. Like so many wonderful things. My life has just gotten better and better and better. It has not gone backwards.
I am thinking about specific things that I wanted to ask you. There was one question, which is, do you ever stop and realize how far you've come? And you just totally went there. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And that's so beautiful, and it's so important because, again, it's like, and I write about this a lot on Black Belt Beauty, but the bait of more is always going to, perpetuate this. Like, we're always looking in that direction of like more. If we don't stop and realize what we have, and then even to kind of dive deeper into what you were just saying, but when there is a worry, some kind of anxiety or a doubt, because essentially, you're a path creator. That's how I view you. You deviated from this kind of traditional, this norm, whatever you call it. I'm holding up quotation signs, but and you're like, fuck this. This is my story, right? This is my masterpiece, and I'm gonna intuitively guide myself every day and go for it, and whatever that means, I'm gonna do it, and that's what you've been doing.
Right.
So to have these moments where you stop and reflect and go, I have only been growing and thriving and succeeding, so why the fuck would that change now?
Exactly.
I'm a wiser, I'm the best version of myself than I've ever been. So if anything, I'm going to just advance all this stuff further. You're mentally stronger.
Exactly.
So I go through it too.
Yeah.
That's why I love it, because it really resonates with me.
But I like to share that I go through it, because I think sometimes people perceive me. I don't know how people perceive me, but like, what I could imagine they perceive me as, oh, look at her. She's on a TV show.
Sure.
And I get my hair and makeup done. So it makes me look good.
You need nothing, but yes.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
But it's like you look at these images on TV or magazines or whatever, and I go, oh my God, they're so beautiful. They look like they have it so together. But I was like, no, there was like a team behind all of that to make that look happen.
Sure.
And then, it's amazing to be on Jane the Virgin. I'm literally
let's talk about
living
that.
my dream.
Tell me about, so when that happened, how was it presented to you? How did it happen, basically?
This is another story.
Yay!
You're going to love this story, I think. I like
sure
to tell
I will.
this story because I think it encourages people. So, all right. I've been with my husband for 20 years. And you can imagine there have been many ups and downs. And, we've had some really, there's a lot of water under the bridge. Anyways.
Formidable years, by the way. So
yes.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
It's hard. My brother and his now wife, but 20 years. And it's like first loves. There's no way around that when you're trying to grow as a couple, but you're growing as an individual.
Exactly.
It's like, what the fuck? That's hard.
Yeah. So I had made that decision that I was going to book a series regular. And I think I did a post recently about a vision board. Did I do a post? I don't even remember. Do you remember something?
I don't know
about
if
me?
I saw.
Oh, I did a shout out to my acting teacher. What the hell post did I put? I can't remember. Anyways.
We'll look it up.
Yeah, we have to look it up. But it was a shout out to my teacher because I had signed up for this goal setting course and it was for actors specifically. And
was it something separate? Just that, where did you do that?
In New York. I was in New York at the time. This was before Jane.
Yeah.
It was probably 8 months before Jane.
Outside of school, though, it's just this goal setting.
I was already a professional actress working.
Yeah.
But I was always taking acting classes for practice.
Cool. Okay.
So in this particular class was just about, it was a monologue / goal setting course.
Got it. Okay, cool.
With Karen Kohlhaas. She's from the Atlantic Theater Company. So, she's a bomb ass teacher. So anyways, I took her course and we had to go through all these exercises about, what do we envision for our futures? What are the things we want? And one of the projects that we had to do was come in with a vision board, and the vision board works in a circular fashion and almost like a mind map.
Yeah.
Actually, that's where I was introduced to mind maps.
Cool.
Was in that class. And we had to present our vision over the next 5 years of where we wanted to see ourselves. And I was pointing out the different things of, oh, okay, now I'm remembering. There's an interview that I did recently, that I posted. So anyway, I was pointing out the different things, and then I got to series regular, and it was that one that was the most important to me on that vision board. And it was because on some level I didn't believe that I deserved it or I was talented enough or something.
Wow.
And I had always wondered, why haven't I gotten there yet? Oh, it must be because I'm not good enough. Like, this is how I spoke to myself. It's awful, but yes, I'm admitting it.
I think it's very normal, to be honest.
And so then when I got to that point and I said, and this is in front of my class and in front of my teacher, it was almost I was almost embarrassed to admit that I wanted to be a series regular on a prime time.
Like it was some lofty dream or something.
Yeah, a primetime TV show. And I literally started crying in front of the class. I couldn't barely even say the words.
Wow.
Reading them out loud. That's what I wanted. And I swear, I think the day that I cried in front of those people and I made a public declaration.
Yes.
That the fucking stars shifted and things aligned. And they were like, oh, okay, you got it. Now we believe you. It's done.
Say it. You got to say it.
Now we believe you.
That's so, again, like, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Jaw
now
drop.
we believe you. So that's that one little story. So then, I mean, because I was focusing on my career like I had never focused before. And it's so funny because I was in therapy and I remember my therapist, I said to my therapist, I was complaining, I've been doing this acting thing for so many years, 20 years, whatever it was. And she goes, all right, Andrea, so the amount of focus that you're doing now, how many years would you say you've been focusing like that?
Great question.
Have you been focusing like that for 20 years? How many years would you say you've been putting that hyper focus that you're doing now? And I was like, well, maybe 4 years. Mm-hmm. And she goes, okay, so you haven't been acting for 20 years. You've been acting for 4 years. And I was like,
perspective.
Damn.
Yeah.
Because you get what you give, right? You get what you put into it.
I think so.
And so I was like, okay, that's good. So I get a call or a Facebook message from this guy named Norman Alajim.
What's up, Norman?
Yeah. And he was like, hi. And he wrote this eloquent, it was so articulate, so well written message saying that he was a manager and he was interested in repping me and he wanted to see if we could have coffee. He was going to be in town.
Okay.
But I've gotten other Facebook messages from people saying they want to be my managers. And I was like, I don't need a fucking manager. I'm not going to give my 10% up to somebody else, but I'll give it to my agent and then 10%. Get the fuck out of here.
Facebook, I don't know. Was that interesting at that time?
Yeah, no, I was like a little creepy. And so usually I would ignore those things.
Sure.
But there was something, it was so well written.
Yeah.
And so eloquent and so intelligent that it really
you were intrigued.
Piqued my interest.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that, I got a call from my agent saying, hey, we got this call from a guy named Norman Alajim who's interested in repping you for management. And they're like, we don't think you should go, blah, 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 blah. They were sort of like against it. And I'm like, yeah? So let me Google it. Who the fuck is Norman Alajim? And what the fuck does he want with me? And so I Google Norman Alajim. And then I proceed to find out, he's been a manager, an agent for 20 years. He was the founder of Writers and Artists Agency, which then went to become Paradigm, which he was like the head of talent for like 9 years.
Incredible.
And he repped Katherine Heigl and Lawrence Fishburne and Sharon Stone. And I'm like, maybe I want to talk with this Norman Alajim dude. So my agents weren't feeling it.
Even after that? After the Google? Wow.
They weren't feeling it.
Okay.
And so then I met him for lunch, for coffee, and I liked him immediately. And I am a people person. Like I mean, when I say I'm a people person, I'm on an energy.
You could read.
If I can vibrate with you, if I feel good in your presence, then I know I can allow you to be in my life.
I understand that. Yeah.
And so I was like, I like this guy. I don't know what it is, but I like this guy. And so then we had made a verbal. Oh, I gave him. I put him through the ringer though. I said, I need to. I'm not gonna just take you on as a manager. I need to think about it, and I have a lot of questions for you. And he goes, sure, of course. If you didn't, I would be concerned. Oh, okay. So he flew back to LA the next week. We talked on the phone, and I mean, we were probably on the phone for a good 45 minutes, and I was just hammering him with a question. Well, what happens with this, and and what's this situation? And I asked him over and over and over, and he goes, wow, you're very thorough. I was like, yeah, if I'm going to give up my 10%, yeah, I'm going to be thorough. And so then we had that verbal agreement. And this is probably like 3 months after that goal setting class.
Yeah.
And then I said, hey, I did an independent film with Paul Sorvino, and it's going to premiere in LA in a couple weeks, and I'm going to fly out to LA for it. And he goes, great, good. I said, and I would like you to be my manager when I get there. And he goes, awesome, I'm your manager. So I fly out there with my daughter. This is her first trip to LA. She was probably 8 or 10 at the time. I can't remember, somewhere in there. And so then we fly out, and then literally I land in LA, and my phone is going off with a message saying, you have an audition tomorrow at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. I was like, God damn it, this manager. Look at this manager going to work. So I go to the audition. It was for this spoof on the Fast and the Furious. It was to play the Michelle Rodriguez character.
Okay.
And I end up booking it. Like, it was the first thing that they sent me out on. And then the second thing that they sent me out on, 6 months later, when I came out for pilot season, was Jane the Virgin.
Wow.
So, but I do have a Jane the Virgin story if you want to hear it.
Yeah, I want to hear it all.
Okay, so that was just trying to lay the groundwork for Jane the Virgin.
Good.
All right, so now my in-laws were in their 80s at the time. My mother-in-law was very sickly. My father-in-law, he had his health issues, but he was always kind of like the one that was taking care of my mother-in-law. And they lived 5 minutes from us in New York. And my husband, the youngest of 4 boys, very dedicated to his parents and taking care of them. So, come December, right after I finished filming Superfast, my father-in-law comes down with cancer, or is diagnosed with cancer. And literally 10 days later, he dies.
Damn.
And at the same time, during all of this, my mother-in-law was in the hospital as well.
Okay. Heavy.
He dies. We literally pulled her out of the hospital to take her to the funeral, and then put her back in the hospital right after. It was just a very difficult time. My kids were little.
Yep.
And I had that summer signed on with my new managers. And from the moment that we had the agreement that I was their client, they said, pilot season's coming up in January, February, and you really need to come out to LA for that. It's going to make all the difference. We don't want you auditioning for pilot season in New York. You have to be in LA. And I knew they were right.
Yeah.
I knew it in my heart. And I had for years avoided LA. I avoided it like the plague. Yes.
It's that East Coast, West Coast thing until you get here and you're like, wait.
It was like I had done a pilot season here. It didn't go so well. I don't know. I was intimidated. I built it up in my mind into something. And, we lie to ourselves with these.
For sure. We make it way more dramatic than it is.
And so, anyways, that was that. And I just knew he was right. I needed to conquer that fear of what I had built LA to be in my mind. Mm-hmm. And, but now my father-in-law has just passed. My mother-in-law is in the hospital. And I've got little kids. My husband's also running a business. What am I going to leave him for a month? Because, if I'm going to come out here to LA for pilot season, you have to at least be here for a month, if not 2 months.
Right.
With no guarantees of getting a job.
For sure.
Right? I'm going to go away for a month to audition and see if I get a job.
It sounds so... but it's truly the way you have to do it if you don't live here.
Yeah. And so I felt like the biggest piece of shit, like what kind of mother am I and what kind of wife am I to leave my husband and the kids in this situation where my father-in-law just passed and my mother-in-law is still in the hospital. And so I was afraid to say anything to my husband. And every few days my managers were like, you coming to LA, right? You're coming to LA, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm coming. And finally I had to like say something to Richard, and I was so scared to say it, and I thought, he was gonna be so mad at me and say absolutely not. And I said, listen, I my managers really think I need to go to LA for pilot season, and I feel so bad with this whole situation, leaving you like this. And he goes, go, don't worry, I have this under control.
Was this post? What are you thinking?
Yes, it was post when are you gonna give up this acting thing?
Okay.
This is press the fast forward button.
Okay.
And so then I go, okay, but I didn't believe him. I thought, oh, he's just trying to test me. To see.
Your mind is impressive.
I know. To see if I really loved him.
Oh!
That's what it is.
Oh.
He wants to see if I really will go.
Oh my goodness.
And so I didn't believe him. But you know what it really came down to? I was so fucking scared.
Yeah. Oh, that my mind actually went there.
It had nothing to do with him. Mm-mm. It had to do with me and my own fears. Because the fear was that I go to LA and I come back a whole month later and I don't have anything to show for it.
Yeah.
That's
scary.
That was my fear.
Yeah.
And then everybody would know I left my husband and my kids and I come back and I got nothing.
Right.
I got nothing. So 2 weeks go by and I'm torturing myself. I gotta talk to Richard, as if I didn't talk to him already about it.
Yeah.
I have to ask him if he's okay. So 2 weeks go by after the torture, and I go, Richard, we need to talk. I need to go to LA for pilot season. And he was like, Andrea, I told you to go. Go already. Do what you gotta do. I got this. And I'm like, okay. I was like, I am not going to wait to hear that again.
Yeah.
And I literally ran to my computer. I got on my computer and I got a ticket. I said, if I don't get a ticket now, I'll back out.
Go. Yeah.
So I got a one-way ticket. And then I got on the phone and I called my girlfriend who lives in Studio City. And I was like, Dahlia, I'm coming out to LA for pilot season. And she was like, finally, well, it's about time.
Yay.
And she's an actress too. And she was like, okay. I'm like, can I stay at your place? Absolutely. Of course you can. And so that was squared away. Then Norman, the lodgem, he was like, I have a car for you. I just bought a new car. I still have my old car. I won't sell it until pilot season's over. So you can have that car. I'm like, okay, car is done. Check.
So can I pause for a second?
Yeah.
Again, power and decision.
Yes.
And then shit lines up.
And then shit lines
it's
up.
But if until you make that decision and you have, clarity, it doesn't mean you know what's going to happen.
Yeah,
it just means that you know what you're going towards.
Mm-hmm.
Shit lines up.
Yeah. Shit lines up.
I love it.
And so then I didn't know what I needed full-time babysitting at that point. I had to find a full-time babysitter. That fell into my lap too. Like everything just flowed. It fell into place. There was not a lot of resistance. And I believe in that Buddhist philosophy, the path of least resistance.
Absolutely. Me too.
I mean, not that this doesn't mean that you can't go through struggles, or you have to go through some sort of resistance, but a lot of the resistance that we experience is the resistance we create for ourselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there is a difference.
Yeah.
I love it.
So, I got to LA,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm literally, as I got on the plane and I sat there and I looked out the window, I had such a peace in me. I just had, I'm going to start crying.
It's where you belong.
I'm going to start crying. I just felt so good, and I just felt like this is so right. This feels so right to me, and I was very calm, very, very zen-like, and I just was sort of very, very present, and everything was like tingling, like brilliant, like sparkling. Everything was sparkling around me, and
incredible.
I literally 3 days later, first audition was for Jane the Virgin.
Dang.
First audition, and as soon as I read those sides, resonating, I went into that room, and I was nervous, but the nerves pretty much went away. It was just resonating. The creator were there, the executive producers, casting directors, just everything resonating, just buzzing, very, very heightened. And I walked out of there like I felt so good about that audition. And I think 15 minutes later, my managers said that they got a call right away as soon as I walked out. Because then a half an hour later, they're like, Andrea, when did you leave that audition? When did you leave that audition? I was like, I don't know, about a half an hour ago. Well, 15 minutes ago they called. They really loved what you did, and they want to call you back, blah, blah, blah. And so then I went through four auditions, or 3 more auditions after that, over the span of the month that I had allotted myself. And I came back to New York with a series regular
Hell
role.
yeah. Can I high five
Yeah,
you?
right?
Sorry, like, girl, that's amazing.
Could you imagine if I had given into the fear?
Yeah, well, there's so much to say about that. Like, I'm teary-eyed over here because, you know, again, I said it earlier, but you're a path creator and you're living intuitively. You're not immune to the doubt.
Oh, no. It's an everyday thing.
Yeah, for sure. But what you do is you decide, actually, it's my story. It's not this. You understand that, you know, this is some shit that you're creating, you know? Because I view thoughts as money, right? So you're either investing in the possibility or the actuality of, you know, creating what you want, or you're actually investing against it, right? And that to me is like, you know, the negative thinking or submitting to that worry and that doubt, because nothing has happened yet, right?
Right.
So where are you putting your money, right? And it's like when you end up betting on yourself, and I really connect with this. So even with this podcast, it's like, man, who knows what the ultimate outcome will actually be. I know what I see it as being. And I'm nervous, you know, for sure. Like, fucking A. Oh my God. Every day, you know, it's like, holy shit, are you doing? And as an introvert, we'll talk about that too. But, you know, to put yourself out there. But I imagine, you know, I literally journaled it this morning. There's no way that when I feel something this strong, I cannot allow myself to look back and go, you felt that feeling and you didn't run with it.
Right.
Like, it doesn't even matter if I'm showing my ass and like whatever, let's just say it doesn't, I can't even say that because I don't believe in it. That's how good I am at brainwashing myself. But, but it's like, but whatever, you know, there's going to be criticism. There's going to be all kinds of things. But none of that is more important than I can handle that, is what I'm saying.
Right.
What I can't handle, and where I feel that this is so I can't handle looking back and going, you submitted to that fear.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
That is the worst. That's
you feel it viscerally, like, no.
No.
And you know what I love to add to it, and I hope that, you know, this is something that I'm able to do in my own life, but hearing your story, it validates this idea that, you know, the only limits that we have are the limits that we put on ourselves.
Exactly.
And if we really want something and we really believe in it, and we do the work to go towards it, it could fucking happen. And you're living it. And it's so important that people, you know, get to hear stories like yours, because so often people don't believe that, you know, and they live, you know, in this smaller kind of mindset, and they don't go for it. And it's such a, you know, it's a disservice really, because how many talented, amazing people are out there and just submitting to fear and not like letting out their amazing magic like you are, which is, and you're just fucking getting warmed up. It's like, whoa, okay, so
thank you. Thank
no,
you.
yeah, it's so, you know, it's so amazing. So you're getting on a flight tomorrow. It's about to be Christmas. You just, you know, you have all these things going on this month, right? I mean, we're staring at the end of the year, and you know, you just wrapped your debut directing role, right? Which is like super exciting. And before I go into that, because I'm right there, I just wanted to say, the fact that you made time to come and sit here with me on top of, but it's so, honestly, because if you were to say, you know, we do it, next year, hell yeah, I understand. You have a very heavy load, but it's so interesting because when you confirmed last night that you could do it, I'm like, but of course, because this is who you are. You know, so I just had to say something about that because.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's...
But you know, with I think the first time you did my makeup, however, it was a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah.
This subject came up that you wanted to do this podcast.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming.
And we immediately connected that we both listened to Tim Ferriss.
Totally.
And we both read The 4-Hour Body and The 4-Hour Work Week and all of that stuff. And
Growth mindset junkies.
Right. And I was like, yes, do it, girl, do it.
Like
from that day one. And so, I mean, when you told me you were actually doing it, like you were at the point of doing it, I mean, I have to support you.
I love you so much. It means so much to me.
Yeah, and you know, just like that also gives you an opportunity to see, okay, you know, you had an idea, a concept, and now you're actually seeing it through.
Yeah.
I mean, and you've done many steps in between then and now.
Sure.
To get to this point.
Right.
Because it doesn't just happen overnight.
No.
But kudos to you. It's just awesome, and I have to show my support.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're
okay,
welcome.
So now we're going to turn back to you in that same aspect of, you know, it wasn't that long ago you took a course on screenwriting, and I so remember you telling me how I'm doing your makeup, and you're like, you were afraid.
Yes.
You were nervous.
Very much so.
So let's connect the dots. So and I was so impressed because you still drove forward, and then, you know, how long ago was that? I think it was
that was last spring.
Okay, wow, time.
Yeah.
So that was amazing. Right?
Interesting.
Okay. That's a good, that works.
I mean, I guess like on some level I feel like I didn't fulfill what I wanted to fulfill, but I showed up to the class. So, you know, you're supposed to leave the class with a story synopsis or a story structure. Okay. You don't actually leave, because it's only a 10-week course, so you don't actually leave the course with like a fully written script.
Yeah.
But it's an introduction, but you should be able to leave that class with story structure.
Okay.
And so I did not fulfill that. But I finished the class. I mean, I showed up to the everyday, and I got started on my story, but I have to finish it. And so I haven't gotten back to it, which bothers me a little bit.
But you'll get to it.
But I'm like, no, you know, because then what happened was I had to move. So I was moving from, you know.
Yeah.
And so moving my kids back to New York and all that. And so that was overlapping with the last few weeks of class. So
That's hard.
You know, it was a big move out of a 4-bedroom house, moving my nanny and my kids back to New York, and me moving into a 1-bedroom here.
Yeah.
So it was a big transition. So I give myself a little slack there.
Good. I'm glad to hear that, because it's deserved.
Yeah, but I did learn a lot in the class. I can't watch a movie the same again now.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that films had 3 acts, and, you know, learned a lot about protagonists and antagonists, and what does the protagonists want, and all of these things. So
That's so great.
I learned a lot about story structure and how features are structured, and I did start developing a story that I do ultimately want to write or have someone else write, and I produce it. So yes,
that's exciting.
Yeah, I just have to figure. I kind of hit a little writer's block already. Yeah, I was hitting a wall with my story idea. Partly, like, I felt like my teacher was steering me in a different direction than my original concept, and I saw what his points were. And he was coming from a place of trying to make it as good as possible. But I think it messed with my creativity a little.
Yeah, I think that can happen sometimes with school, right?
I think so. I mean, so not his fault. You know, no, definitely not blaming anybody. I think also my perfectionistic way of being also probably was a creative roadblock, because I was trying to do it right. Sure,
instead of just like free flowing and letting it be an inspired act versus like some kind of.
So I think there's a value in just putting something on the back burner.
I think so too. I love that you said that, because I think sometimes there's just, you know, don't quit kind of thing that can take place in people's mind, where it's like pushing pause isn't quitting.
Right. You know, and it's like there's a fine line, you know, am I, you know, making an excuse for myself to like not do the work?
Right.
You know, or But I don't think so because I'm doing other things like the directing.
Yes. Okay. So how did that come about? Tell me everything.
Okay. So I was inspired by watching Gina Rodriguez and a good friend of hers that she's known for a very long time. They started collaborating together as partners in developing work. Creative work, and then also Justin Baldoni, who's my other co-star, and him and his friends, and they started their company Wayfarer, and they're, doing, they're creating content, really inspiring content. So I have two girlfriends of mine that I met in acting school over 20 years ago. And we met in class. We were partnered up by our teacher to do this play called Vanities. And it was about three best friends starting in high school all the way into adulthood, and how they go on these different life paths, and then how they reunite at the end. And it's a comedy drama. So we worked on that, and that's how we got to know each other.
That's
and
cool.
We've been close friends ever since. So it's been over 20 years. And so I said, I have friends. We could do something together. And they're both actresses. One is an actress, and she wrote a feature film, her first feature, encouraged by her husband, who's a writer-director. And then the other one is a spoken word artist, actress, and she wrote a one-woman show called Beautiful. And it's about her life, and she won an NAACP Image Award for it.
Amazing.
Yeah, and then she now wrote a feature film based on the play, or based on her life, like sort of like a spin-off.
Are they in LA or New York?
They're in LA. And then she also wrote a book called...
Amazing.
Yeah.
She's busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, look at these, look at all of us. We've got
creative
talents, stuff to like bring to the table. And so last September I said to them, hey girls, we've known each other for so long. I feel like there's something here. I feel like there's a movie or something about like our friendship that I want to explore. I said, but beyond that, I feel like the three of us should collaborate, get together, and do stuff instead of waiting for people to give us work.
Hell yes.
Yeah. And so so those meetings started every week last September. And I was concerned we were able to meet that first meeting. But before that, whenever we tried to get together on a social level, it was so hard to get everyone's schedules.
Are they moms too?
One of them is a mom.
Okay.
But everyone's scheduled to meet for a dinner or something like that. That was just always so hard. So I was like, well, if we can't even get together for dinner, how are we going to get together for these meetings? Well, let me tell you something. We all decided, this is business?
Right. Isn't that funny?
So, yeah. So we met that first week, and I was like, okay, nobody canceled. No, nothing happened. We actually met. I was like, well, let's see if we can actually do it again. We have met faithfully every week since last September. So we're in December now.
That's
no
beautiful.
One's canceled. No one rescheduled. Except for me when Jane the Virgin came up. Some legitimate Jane the Virgin stuff came up. But then everybody was like, oh, okay, cool. Everyone went with the flow. And then we didn't, it didn't drop the ball. Because I was afraid, if somebody cancels, then you lose your steam.
The momentum,
momentum.
Yeah.
But no, that didn't happen. And then... So we were working on coming up with like a feature film idea, which is I'm finding very challenging as a group to work together.
Okay.
We're working well together, but to come to a consensus,
to
like work out story idea, it takes a long time to develop a story. So by the time that happens, we wouldn't have gotten anything done. So I said, listen, we have this impulse to do something, to create something. Let's do something sooner than later because we're going to lose our steam or momentum. So let's get our feet wet in something easier, smaller.
Smart.
That's
so smart of you.
And so I said, I want to feature Josanne, who's the spoken word artist, because she had one day posted an impromptu video that a friend of hers shot. And she posted, and she hardly ever posts her spoken word in a video. She just does it live. And I saw that and I was like, that was so cool. It was a really nice video. And I said, Josanne, you need to be doing more videos like this. You need to be on YouTube or whatever and just putting yourself out there as a spoken word artist. And she's like, I don't like the quality. I want it to be quality. And I said, I want to direct an episode of Jane. So I've already asked to direct an episode of Jane, which will be in season 5. And so
Amazing.
I need to practice. I said, I want to direct. I'll direct you. Let's do a spoken word video. So the 3 of us were like, okay, that's going to be our first project. And so, it's been, I don't know, about a little bit over a month where we've been meeting on that specifically. We put the feature film aside for now because we set a deadline for us to film it this month, which was this past weekend. And girl, so out of my comfort zone.
But you posted something about that, and I just when I loved reading that because again, I can go back to you signing up for that class for writing and. Again, it's just like, there she goes again. Just like living through the discomfort and just going for it.
So painful though.
Dude, but
I'm like, why do I do this to myself?
I literally, the day that you posted that, I'm like, I needed to see this today because I'm thinking about my podcast and all this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, it served me, and so good. I'm sure many other people as well.
So, even up to like a week ago, I was extremely uncomfortable. Like, I want to crawl out of my skin uncomfortable about this whole thing.
It's crazy, too, because you're doing it with your close friends, so it just goes to show, it's like, you were in the most comfortable setting, right?
Well, they were so encouraging and so supportive of me. But so, like, I didn't know how we were going to shoot. Like, I came up with a concept. We had to pick a poem. And it was up to me to pick the poem because I was the director. So I decided on a poem that she wrote. And then it's called Love Spoken, Then Love Unsaid, which really means... spoken love is better than love unsaid. And that's what the poem is about, but it's inspired through the loss of her grandmother, of Joseanne's grandmother. So when she was 16, 17, her grandmother passed, and her grandmother basically is the one who raised her.
Okay.
And the poem is about the regret of not really taking the opportunity to express her gratitude or her love to her grandmother for everything that she did for her. Yeah. And so there's, it's slightly painful, but there's also a message in the poem is, don't do what I did.
Right. Speak it.
Make sure you speak it. So I was inspired by that, and I felt like it could be universal, and it could apply to anyone. And then here's one of the uncomfortable moments. They were like, okay, well, come up with a video for this poem. And I'm like, all right, that's my homework. And so I was experiencing a lot of resistance. I'm like, what the fuck am I going to write? I got to create a video. Like, it's got to be a visual thing that makes sense with these words. And that is featuring Joseanne as an artist.
That's a big deal.
So I'm like, I don't know what the freak. I mean, I don't know. And so I had that was my homework, and I was procrastinating on it. But it was always in the back of my head, and I feel like even when you think you're procrastinating, it's working itself out in your head.
100%. Yeah. I'm literally going through that right now.
You're
not in this moment, but yes.
Yeah, but you're thinking about it. You're mulling it over. Totally. So I think there's a creative process that's happening. But so there was one flight from LA to New York when I was going to see my family, that I was like, all right, I have no excuses. I can't walk off this plane. There's nothing to do on this plane but work. I'm captured. I have to be sitting with a seatbelt. Can't escape. So gosh. I sat down and I wrote some ideas. I just jotted whatever came to my head, and I felt like it was just like throwing paint on a wall. That's what it felt like to me. Like, I wasn't being that creative. Like, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. But I came up with some ideas based on what I was reading in the poem, and I wrote it along all the little different paragraphs on this piece of paper. And then I was like, all right, I did my homework, and I didn't feel like I did anything really. But I just wrote some ideas. Okay. So I brought it to our next meeting, and I'm like, all right, so I came up with this stuff. This is how I envision it. And I thought they were going to be like, that's all you did? I really thought that's what they would say. And then Joseanne was like, wow, this is really cool. I like this. And I'm like, really? Oh, okay. Like I said, I felt like I threw paint on a wall.
That is so...
And so then Dahlia was like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But, we've got her on a beach. we've got I had these other different scenarios with other people showing love, like a couple, someone's getting proposed to. There's a mother and a child where she's just being very affectionate. And then I also want to show another example of not expressing love, where there's like a military son going off to war, and the mother's crying and the dad's very stoic and not showing any expression to his son. And then you cut to the dad's in the cemetery at the headstone, and he's crying and he's showing his emotion. And so there's regret in that he could have said goodbye to his son for the last time.
Damn.
And so
that's powerful.
Yes. Wow. So I came up with I'm like, how are we going to execute this? We need actors. We need cemeteries. We need beaches. We need who the fuck am I? Like, I don't know. How is this going to happen? And so I was the one who was like naysaying, and the girls were like, no, we could totally do this. Oh, this is so easy. We could totally do it. And I'm like, yeah, but where are we going to get these actors? Who's going to, and I'm like, and how am I going to shoot it? Like, on what? Am I going to do it on my iPhone? Like, I don't know. I mean, and I had done some still photography when my kids were babies, and I was self-taught. That's a whole other story, but so, and I was making money doing it. But anyways, so then I go, well, I still have the camera from when I was doing the still photography, and it has video. It's a very good camera, a Canon 7D. I said, I've never used the video, so I don't know how to work it, but we'll see. And so on one of my trips to New York, I picked up the camera, and I was going to shoot it on that, but I was like, I don't know. I feel like, we're now we already started getting cast in plays. Wow. We had like this bomb-ass African-American actress who's like worked so much actually agreed to do this. So because I had this concept of like a grandmother and a grandchild, a daughter, that was going to be symbolic of Josanne and her grandmother. And then I also had this lofty idea of an adult female dancer and a little girl dancer on the beach. So I'm like, who are we going to get for these to do the dance on the beach? That's supposed to be symbolic of the grandmother and grandmother. How the fuck is that going to happen? Like, where are we going to get?
I love that you're still doubting after so many examples that it always works out. But again, I mean, this is natural. We all do it.
Well, sure enough, Josanne and Dolly are like, well, we know people. They start getting on the phone. We got a choreographer, we got the dancers, we got the grandmother, we got the beaches, you got the cemetery. Oh my God. I reached out. I had a friend who played the military dad. I reached out to a girlfriend who's not an actress. I texted her. I was like, hey, do you act? Can you act? And she was like, well, if you count fifth grade play. And I'm like, she goes, what do you need? And I'm like, well, I need a really good actress who can bring it emotionally and she's like, well, that's not me, but I have the perfect person for you.
There you go.
So she sent me this lady who was so perfect. So anyway, I was so nervous. Then I was like, we have all these like amazing people, and I'm going to shoot this on my little Canon that I don't know how to operate.
You gotta what do you do?
So then I'm like, do I get a DP? Do I get a director of photography? I'm like, how do I do that? And what director of photography who is of quality is going to want to work on our little tiny little spoken word video? Like, this is what I was doing to myself the entire way.
It's exhausting.
Oh my God. So then, and meanwhile, I'm traveling to New York back and forth. I'm filming on Jane and and we're trying to make this happen. So then finally I said, we got to get a DP. We have to. I don't want to get all these amazing people come together and then I put them in a rinky-dink, raggedy-ass video.
Right.
It's just
that
not
would be
going to happen. So Josanne gets on the phone again, and I learned a lot from her, watching her. And she made some phone calls. She knew a bomb-ass DP. He said he would have done it, but had another job. But he recommended 2 other people who he was mentoring. Mm-hmm. I interviewed them. I ultimately decided on one guy, but I wasn't 100%. And there was a part of me that was like so uncomfortable. I was like, oh, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel right, but we're going to them anyway. It doesn't feel right. And I just thought, oh, it's because I'm out of my comfort zone. I was just chalking it up to like my insecurity about my inexperience.
Yeah.
And so I just thought that's what it was. And so we were going to continue with him. And then one day he calls to say, hey, I got offered this other job. I don't know if it's for sure. I'll let you know on the weekend. So that was like a Wednesday. And we were a week away from
shooting.
Yeah. I was like, that's not flying for me. I'm sorry. And that was, to me, that was my out. Because I wasn't feeling him. So I called Josanne again. Josanne, I don't think he's going to work. I don't think he's going to make it. We don't have time to waste to find out if he can do it.
Yeah.
So let's get on the phone again. So she, sure enough, called one of the actor who was going to play the military son. She called him, do you know any DPs? He goes, yeah, I know 3. So Incredible. She calls all 3, and one of them, none of the 2 were available, but one was, and she said she liked him on the phone, and he sent her the demo reel. So he sends the demo reel. She sends it to me. I look at it and I go, oh my God, this demo reel is amazing. Why would this guy want to work with us? So this is what I'm doing the whole way. I'm like, he's not going to, look at that fucking video is amazing. Why would he want to work on this little spoken word video that's probably just going to go up on YouTube? So then she's like, Andrea, you have to ask. You never know. He seemed interested. Give him a call. So I called him. I'm like, hey, so I'm looking for a DP who's willing to work with an inexperienced director who is willing to like kind of hold my hand and help me through this whole experience. And he was so like, I love the idea. I love the narrative you have going through it. It sounds really cool. I'm totally available and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, really? Really? Oh, okay. And so, yeah, I hired him. Like 3 hours later, I was calling the other guy saying, sorry, we don't need you, but thanks anyway. Feeling so relieved that this new guy was coming on, Daniel Rink as his name. And we shot it this weekend. We got some incredible footage.
I cannot wait to see it.
It's so beautiful. It's just beyond what I imagined it would be.
Are you proud of yourself?
I am.
Yes.
I'm so nervous though. I'm still tortured because now I have to edit it.
Okay.
And so I'm concerned that I didn't get enough in the whatever. But I'm like, I hope it makes sense in the edit, but we'll see. But I have a Jane the Virgin editor offered to edit it for me.
I'm not surprised, girl.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So I'm excited about that. But I mean, even down to the casting. Thank you. I was so worried about the casting because I was going off of pictures. I didn't know if these people could act. I didn't know if they were going to look legitimately the granddaughter, or look legitimately old enough to be the parents for this kid. Like, everything just clicked. The DP and his crew were so on point. Such nice people. Very grounded. My kind of people. But really knew what they were doing, very eager to make it work. Then me and my girls were so organized. Everything was so on point. Everything we said we were going to do, we did. We were on time for everything. All our locations worked out perfectly. We had no permits to do anything. It was total guerrilla style, and everything went so smoothly.
Dope. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you. That's a big deal. I can't wait to see this. And I think that it's almost like your brain, when you go into this, oh my God, how's this going to work out? And why would this person want to do this? And your brain is, I think this is, I don't know if I'm saying it right, but science has proven that it's like your brain wants to kind of protect yourself from being, from, being hurt. And so having it not work out or things going wrong would inevitably disappoint you, hurt you, make you feel like shit. But it's so, you can hear in your own story that it's always worked out for you, know?
Knocking on wood. Get out myself.
Knock on whatever you got to knock on, but it's true. And one of my favorite daily affirmations that I came up with one day is that I trust my wings incessantly. And so I think that, we can sit here and always infect these and we probably always will, like the what ifs, you know, but if it was layer cake, if your thoughts were layer cake, the foundation needs to be, it's all going to work out. It's always working out for me. I got this shit. Even if like 2 layers above that is like, what's going to happen? And I feel like that's your layer cake. Like even if you might not feel it, the fact that you're driving forward and you're still, because a lot of people would submit to that second layer above it, that, you know, but you're like, nah, I'm going to keep, I'm doing this. I got to do this.
I keep pushing myself over the edge.
And so this is this is why it's, you know, it's like you're walking inspiration, regardless of whether you feel it's like you again, like whether you've got it all together or you're hitting all these marks, it's living courageously.
Yes.
And living with a mindset that, you know, you're not limiting yourself.
Right.
You know, you believe in it.
Well, I'll tell you one thing.
Tell me.
Oh my God, I feel like I might have found another calling.
Hell yeah!
Yes.
Yes.
Directing. Oh
yes,
my
loved
God, girl. Oof. I'm like, ooh, yeah.
Yes.
I feel like I want to do this because because actors are just responsible for their role. I, as a director, was responsible for all the roles.
Yeah.
And what I really got off on was telling the story. And telling an inspiring story or a motivating story, and the power that's in that.
This doesn't come as a surprise to me. I think that as an artist, I'm going through this myself, where it's like, you know, you're expanding. How many actors have become directors, producers? How many? You know, there's models who become photographers. There's, you know, it's like you're blossoming. We're constantly growing and advancing. And it's so cool when you have that feeling, like how you just said you had a calling. You feel like it's a calling. Yeah. I can honestly say that just sitting here with you and having this conversation, I fucking know that this is my space. I know it. You know, it's like, it's a visceral feeling.
Sure.
When you're just like, again, it doesn't mean you know the path or the path's going to be easy. It's just like, oh my gosh, the frequency is so high that you cannot ignore it. So, wow. Okay, so when are we able to see this piece?
Probably mid to late February. I was hoping sooner, but the editor who so graciously offered me his services and his expertise, I feel like is worth waiting for, and he won't be available till the beginning to mid-February. So I'm going to hold out. I'm going to hold out for him because, you know, he's such an expert.
Yeah.
And so what I'm going to do in the meantime is I have the footage. I can practice editing on my own anyway with what I have, you know, with the footage. So I'm going to play around with it on my computer and see what I come up with.
Of course you are.
Yeah. I'm not going to sit around and wait till it's ready. I'm going to do something with what I have.
Get your hands in it.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
How exciting. Well, I can't wait to share it, you know, and put it out. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll make sure that that's, you know, visible on Black Belt Beauty on the Instagram and on all the channels. So,
cool.
Wait, what's the title?
It's Love Spoken, then Love Unsaid. Our short title is Love Spoken.
Love Spoken. Beautiful.
Yeah, by Josanne Marie.
Okay. Yay.
And when is this coming out?
January. Yeah. Isn't it so gnarly when you give yourself an actual date?
Yes, you have to.
The podcast launches at the end of this month, December. So the first guest is a friend of mine and my brother's for a long time, Carla Esparza. She's a UFC fighter. She fights on the UFC card in December, or in Vegas, December 30th. My brother is her strength and conditioning coach, and she's just an amazing, amazing woman and badass fighter. So I thought, okay, I got to put this out fight week. It only makes sense, like just to, you know. But it's so crazy when you actually are staring at a deadline, and when you've put it out there.
Yeah.
Like, hey, everybody, guess what?
Yeah.
I'm doing this. Holy shit.
I know.
It's so crazy.
It's a very vulnerable position to be in.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, I'm already thinking about, okay, so I have to share this on, you know, my personal, you know, Instagram, which is different than Black Belt Beauty, you know, and put it out so everyone in my you know, in the makeup world, in my industry, sees that I'm also doing that. It's just this whole, it's crazy. And again, so we'll kind of shift. I'm taking so much of your time because you're so
good.
easy.
You're good.
I love talking to you. I know that we'll do so many more. So we, you know, there's more territory to get to later. But I was going to say, you know, launching this podcast, doing this podcast, technically, if I had to take a test, I think I'm an ambivert, which, you know, means that obviously I'm kind of right down the middle. But I actually think of being an introvert and extrovert. Mm-hmm. But I actually think that I'm more of like a 95% introvert
yeah.
and maybe like 5% extrovert, because most people would be like, you're not an introvert, unless you really are close to me, because you know that I spend majority of my time by myself.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so happy and comfortable in my own energy. And so
I'm the same way.
You're the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about that, and
I need it.
You do.
If
right?
I don't have that time, I'm crabby.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I learned that I was that way when I had children. I wasn't as aware of myself until I had kids, and I would when they were babies, I would just get up right away and start taking care of them. And then I would find myself super impatient and tired and crabby and feeling like a horrible mother. And I realized it was because I didn't have any quiet time to myself.
Yeah.
I really needed that. And so my kids would get up early, like around 6 in the morning. Mm-hmm. So to avoid having to like just deal with them immediately, I would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning just to have that hour to myself of quiet and to have a cup of coffee and just gather my thoughts and get my bearings. And then I was just much nicer mother.
I mean, you know what? I feel like a lot of people have maybe heard me say this already, and it'll come out so much more, but I write about it on Black Belt Beauty. I'm such a fan of a morning ritual, and I have a very, very, you know, extensive morning ritual that consists, you know, me right now not being a mom, I know this is going to shift when that happens. And it's almost like because I know that it's going to shift, I'm even more appreciative of it.
Yeah.
But it's like literally 2 hours. And even if
That's
I'm working
awesome.
or something, I will make sure that I get up, because first of all, I can't get out of bed and just like go.
Start going.
I
can't either.
I need to like let my mind and my body kind of catch up, and you know, so even if that means daydreaming, and so there's journaling, there's meditation, there's literally, I'm watching the birds. You can see we're at my house right now. I watch dark turn to light, and I watch the birds, which to me, it's so beautiful because it reminds me every single day to be light and to be free, because that's how I kind of receive the birds. They're just cruising, you know?
Yeah.
So, and I believe that, you know, having this kind of ritual allows me to connect with my highest self. And then everything that happens after this time, I feel more of a creator than a reactor, and extremely present throughout, you know, my
absolutely.
day. So
I probably not as militant with a morning ritual like you are, but I do have a morning ritual, and a lot of the times I will do some journaling or some sort of meditation. Not as disciplined as I would like to be, but I'm getting there. But with the days that I am good with that, especially when they're consecutive days, my days go so much better.
You feel good,
and feel good. It's like I crave it.
Oh, that's
like
me.
I need it.
That's why
like
I'll go to bed extra early. I don't care, because it's so sacred to me. It literally, it feels like dessert. It's like I just want to wake up and make my Four Sigmatic coffee, which actually it doesn't start there. There's like several herby drinks before that. But let's go into that realm for a minute. Like food. What are your morning concoctions?
All right, this is my morning concoction lately. It's a sort of hybrid of bulletproof.
Okay.
But it's not quite. So, believe it or not, I'm going through menopause.
Oh, shit, really? Okay.
Yeah. So, because of that, I have coffee in the morning, but when my coffee has maca powder in it because of
maca root to help
for the
hormones.
Yes, exactly. So, but I actually like the taste in the coffee. It tastes really good.
Really?
Yeah, and I also add cocoa powder and coconut oil and collagen powder and cinnamon.
Vital Proteins collagen?
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
okay, cool.
And
That
then
sounds
it's
yummy.
almond and coconut milk with the other liquid in it besides my coffee, and I love that. I really look
It
forward to
sounds
that
really
in the morning.
nourishing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So very tasty, and it tides me over, and I don't usually eat till the afternoon. So that's just like my go-to thing in the morning that I crave. I do have to take a thyroid medicine because I have Hashimoto's. So depending on if I wake up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, I'll take my thyroid medicine before I go back to bed because I like to have my coffee first thing, but I can't have my coffee first thing.
Yeah.
I have to wait at least a half an hour.
My mom, that's the same thing with her. Yeah.
So it's so frustrating because I'm like, I just want to get to my coffee right away, but I have to let my body absorb the medicine first before I can have the coffee. So there's that. And then I will do like a morning pages, sort of like the artist way. So I write 3 freehand, like
the artist way is a
free-flowing.
book. I'm just going to put it out there because so many people that I know love. I mean, I have it. I've never tapped into it, but
I haven't fully tapped into it except for the morning pages.
Really?
Yeah.
I know a lot of amazing people who are all about it.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
I would like to, when I have the luxury of time, to like really focus. But I feel like I'm doing so much that I don't want to add another project.
Right. That's important.
So I figured the morning pages are good enough. And it's almost like meditation for me. So it's just like you just write whatever comes to your head, even if it's blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Even if it's nothing's coming to your head, then you write nothing's coming to my head. The point is just keep writing and it serves as sort of like a cleaning house.
That's literally head. My journal.
Yeah.
It's like
getting it all
totally.
Out. And so that's great. And then if I have time, I'll meditate for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 20 minutes, just depending on
how much time you have.
How much time I have. And then I like to work out in the morning, but also sometimes my head is better in the morning, so I like to get my thinking work done.
We are so similar.
Yeah,
so I'm sitting here listening. I'm like, are you in my fucking head?
Yeah. So if I don't I would prefer I would love to just work out first.
Yeah.
But then I've expended all that energy on the workout.
Right.
That if I have more cerebral things that are pressing,
yes,
I will take care of those first and then work out.
I'm with you. Yeah. It's such a fine, it's basically it's like every day is a different day.
Yeah.
And as long as you're clocking in those hours at some point, you're training your...
Like today I'm working out with my trainer at 5.
Yeah.
I would love to have worked out with him this morning.
Right.
But I had way more important things that required my thinking energy.
Yeah, it's true. I'm the same way. Today is my run the beach day, and I thought about it. I'm like, can I do it before? There is something about if you get the right dose of exercise in, and studies have proven, for example, like if I was to go on a 2-mile run, so nothing that's a big deal, something but it can stimulate the process.
Yes,
but if you go too much, for sure, then it can make you exhausted.
Right.
Yeah, tired.
Exactly.
So that's cool that you also.
Yeah, and I don't like to leave that workout so late because there's always the risk of not working out.
Exactly.
So I try to get it done sooner than later.
I'm same. Oh wait, okay. So gosh, there's so many things to talk to you about. I do want to ask you, or I want to put it out there and ask you. Jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
So we meet, and how cool and random. I laugh at the term random because I kind of don't believe in it. But you and your daughter have been a part of the Woman Empowered program at Gracie Academy, now Gracie University, and the Gracie family that runs the program and they're like family to me and my family.
Yeah.
So I train jiu-jitsu and have for over 6 years. And in discovering that, we were like, what?
Such a small world. And then on top of that, Eve has the same manager as me.
Oh, wow. Wait,
Norman Elijah.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, Norman Elijah.
No.
Freaking, who the fuck is Norman Elijah, man? What the fuck does he want with me?
That's so cool. Yes, Eve, one of my best friends, Eve Gracie. Eve Torres Gracie. How did you
what drove you to go towards jiu-jitsu, towards the Women Empowered program? I mean, backing up to your childhood, you obviously went through some shit that...
Yeah. I mean, my another credit to my dad, he put me in Taekwondo when I was a kid.
I took that too.
Yeah. And so I did that for a couple of years when I was a kid. And that he did it because I was very meek as a kid and I'm very shy and non-confrontational. Meanwhile, I'm growing up in the, like, freaking ghetto in the Bronx. And being meek doesn't fly. And I've had, like, I was being bullied at some point and all this other stuff. So my father was like, no, you need to learn how to punch and kick. And so that was good for me. I did that for 2 years. And then, so that was sort of like planted the seed of martial arts. And then when I was in my 20s, I did Kung Fu for a couple of years. And
how did you, was that just you
that
deciding?
was on my own. Yeah, just on my own, that I wanted to exercise and I wanted to have some sort of self-defense. And I really loved the Kung Fu a lot. It's very beautiful. And then when I came out here, well, I wanted my daughter from little has been very shy. She's really come out of her shell in a big way. She's 13 now. But like, it was very hard to get her to sign up for anything. She didn't want to do any sports. Like, if I left it up to her, all she would do is like watch TV.
Oh,
you know, or like be on social media. And that is just not acceptable. I am sorry. That's not happening.
Good for you, yeah.
And so when we were moving the kids out here a couple of years ago, I said to Ava, I was like, look, you have to do something. You can't not do anything. So here are your options. She didn't like any of them. So then I narrowed it down to 2. I was like, you can do dance or you can do martial arts. I wanted her to pick the martial arts. But because I feel like, you know, as a female, you need to know how to protect yourself. You're like prey. I'm sorry.
Literally.
Children and females are prey.
100%.
And so, you know, and she's a pretty girl on top of that. And I wanted her to come out. I wanted her to have more confidence. I felt like she was lacking confidence. And so I really wanted her to pick the martial arts, but she didn't. She picked the dance. So she did the dance. And she didn't even want to do the dance. I'm going to be honest. I freaking paid her to take the classes.
Oh my goodness.
I never thought I would do this, but...
You bribed your kid to take it?
I bribed my kid. But she completed it, and she even did, and I gave her a bonus for the recital.
I think there's value in that, though, you know?
So, and then she was like, every day after she come out of dance class, she put her hand out. Where's money, Mom?
Oh, shoot.
I gave her like $5.
What a hustler.
I gave her $5. And so then I paid her when she finished her performance for the recital. So that was a whole year, you know, like that was like, 9 months, you know, of taking class and then doing the recital. And, you know, being on stage is not my daughter's thing. Like, she's not me, you know. And I could separate that, and I get that. But there's value into being able to present yourself in front of people. And as an adult, no matter whether you're an introvert or extrovert, at some point in time, you have to get up in front of people.
Yes, you do. You
need to be able to hold your own and present yourself. And so to me, there's value in taking acting classes or taking dance classes or martial arts. So she completed it, and so the following year I said, okay, so you will be doing dance again, and I will not be paying you this time. And she was like, ugh. And I said, and on top of that, since you survived the dance, you're going to do martial arts as well. She was like, I hate you. Literally told me she hated me. You're making me. I hate you. I hate you. And it's very hard to be in that position as a parent because you don't want to hear your kids saying that to you. And
of course.
I'm like, am I doing the wrong thing? Should I not be forcing her? Is that wrong? Is that wrong? And then I just went with my instincts and I made her go. And I said, look, I'm going to take the class with you. So it's not like you're going to be by yourself.
That's cool, that leading by example thing. Yeah.
And then I got a friend of hers to sign up too. So
amazing.
You know, just to make it easier
more
for
fun.
her.
And
so then we did it for like 9 months that next year, taking the class.
Did you go to the... like the free seminar? How did you find?
No, I did a lot of research on all the schools around, and to me that was the best one.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad we went. And a month later, 2 months later after taking the classes, my daughter admits to me that she loved it.
Oh.
Which was
that's so
rewarding for me.
And,
yeah. I was like, oh, thank God, because Here I was like, I hate you.
Yeah.
I'm forcing her, and then she admitted to me that she loved it. So then when we decided, okay, this year we sent the kids back to New York.
Yeah.
I said, you're going to continue jujitsu. And she goes...
Look on your face.
I know. Oh, because that's my mommy
it's
look.
So good. I love it.
I don't mess with
I love it.
So everyone goes, oh, you're so sweet. I'm like, if you only knew. I'm a Latina mother. I am a Latina mother.
That's so serious.
At the end of the day. So, and she goes, but it's not going to be Eve and Henner.
Aww.
And I don't want anybody else but Eve and Henner. I'm like, well, you're doing it. I'm going to find a school for you. And all last summer, I went to about 10 schools looking all over for the right fit.
Mm-hmm. It's hard. They raised the bar is really high with those ones.
It was so, I mean, really none of them fit.
Yeah.
None of them fit. I was trying to get the same thing, but it's impossible.
It's impossible.
But I did end up settling on the Bronx Martial Arts Academy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she likes it.
She does.
Yeah.
Good.
She's doing it.
That's so great.
I got my son signed up and he's doing...
Yay.
And at this school, they do karate and jiu-jitsu.
Rad.
So my son is doing 2 classes in a row twice a week. And then my daughter's just doing the jiu-jitsu. And we have her in a fitness class now with her friends at a gym. So.
Oh, that's so good because, it's so good for so many reasons. But I really think that... Because I was an athlete... up until I was 16, that's when I took Taekwondo. I blew out my knee, and I was a mess after that for a couple of years. I had 3 knee surgeries.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was gnarly. And then all I cared about was surfing anyways. So anyways, that's a whole different story. But, growing up and having that, before that, so my dream when I was a kid for a while was like, to be like FloJo, right? I was a runner. I was fast. I did cross country. I ran the 800, the 1500. There's so much discipline that goes into, being in a sport. Mm-hmm. And I feel the connection in sport to life it's incredible. It's like, that's why people ask me all the time, what are you training for?
For just life.
Random. That's exactly.
Right,
so that's
why for life. Yep.
Life is my sport. I bought that fucking .com. It was available because it's true. Sometimes you need to be fast. You definitely have to have endurance. You need to have, sometimes you need to be still. Sometimes you have to know how to breathe. Like yoga teaches you that. There's all these things that you can take from sport, physical activity, and apply it to.
Well, here's my thing. My grandmother's going to be 95 in March. If I live as long as my grandmother, there is no fucking way that I'm going to be with a cane.
No.
Or anything. I want to be like my grandmother. She does not have a cane. She walks every day. She has arthritis. She has her little issues here and there, but she is so with it, and she's spry, and she can move.
Love it.
And I just want to have quality of life.
Yes.
If however long I live, I don't want to be suffering.
No.
And I want to be around for my kids and their kids and,
For sure.
I just want quality of life.
Yeah, you want to put more years in your life. So it's not even necessarily how long, because I'm such a biology junkie and longevity is so important to me. And it's about, even if it ends up being, let's just say 80, which I don't think. I think it's going to be longer. But anyways, if it ends up being that, it's more about like, where are you cognitively? Are you, I want to be 70 and like running 5Ks like it's nothing. I mean, it's that same thing where you're you're alert, you're here, you're not. And the thing is that life can be that way. You have to make a choice.
I believe that.
I mean, it's proven, it's if you're doing things to promote optimal health, and that means even, your state of mind, it's not just working out every day, it's what you're eating, it's your relationships, the information you digest, the time that you take for yourself, it's everything, all these things that, we've touched on too. They promote, this kind of optimal state of living. And I mean, that's Black Belt Beauty is feel good, look good, perform good, right? So it's there's so much value in that, and I feel like you're living it day in, day out. You totally are.
Trying my best.
And that's all you can do.
Exactly.
And remembering that, there's a lot of people who are not even trying.
Right.
And that's the difference, is that you are.
Yes.
And your hunger.
I have a thirst for like,
Yeah.
I don't know, to learn, to be better,
to grow.
I have this like insatiable thirst. I kind of always been that way.
Yeah.
You know, I just, and I enjoy it though. It's fun to me to learn.
I think it's visible that you're enjoying it. You know, I don't feel, and regardless of whether there's challenge or doubt or worry, I don't feel, and I know I could probably be speaking for everyone who observes you, but you're loving your process, you know, you're vulnerable, you're accepting, and that is a part of loving, because, you know, you know, I say this on Black Belt Beauty, I feel like you're on your team. Mm-hmm. And that's so fucking important, because if you're not on your team, like who's going to be on your team?
Who's going to want to be on your team?
Exactly.
People only want to be on a winning team.
Damn straight. Damn straight.
They don't feel like you're a winner, or you believe you're a winner.
Exactly.
They don't want to hang out with you.
Yeah. So, okay.
Let me look at the time.
No, I know. I'm going to.
Ooh. Oh
we just attacked 2.5 hours. No.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
God.
I want to thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you.
I'm so grateful. You're getting on a plane. Oh my God, this is crazy tomorrow. Okay, so where can people find you, follow you, keep up with the amazing life that you are creating and living?
Sure. Probably the best and most fun is Instagram, which is at Andrea Navedo. And I'm also under the same handle at Andrea Navedo on Facebook and Twitter.
Cool.
But I tend to favor Instagram, then Facebook, then Twitter. That's like my priority.
Okay, perfect. And I'll put the proper spelling in everywhere too.
And Jane the Virgin, of course.
Yes.
Jane the Virgin is on Netflix as well. It's on the CW network. So season 4 is airing on CW, but the first 3 seasons of Jane the Virgin are on Netflix.
Okay. Amazing.
Yay.
That's so exciting. Again, thank you. I feel like we have so much more to tap into.
Yes, and we'll, there's going to be other things.
Oh,
because there'll be other projects, and you'll be even deeper and more bigger into Black Belt Beauty and everything you're doing. And so we're going to have plenty to talk about.
Exactly. I'm excited. I'm so excited. Okay. Thank you so much. I'm going to wrap out.
All right.
Later, guys.
Thanks for taking the time to check out this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please share it with your friends. Head over to iTunes, subscribe to this podcast, rate it, leave me an honest review. Let's connect. I'm so excited to do that in this space and really create content that elevates your mind in support of your best performance in life. You can find me on Instagram at Black Belt Beauty. I'm active there every single day, and I look forward to connecting with you all. So thanks again, and I'll catch you on the next one.